118. Madam Board Secretary, can we have roll call, please?
Trustee Boulna, absent. Trustee Henderson.
Here.
Trustee Hernandez, absent. Trustee Hoffman. Trustee Eno.
Here.
Trustee Vela.
Here.
Trustee Vettis. Student Trustee Cordova. Here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We will have our student trustee elected Cordova lead us in the flag salute. Today, we would like to adjourn the meeting in memory of Regina Marie McLaughlin. Regina, a longtime East Los Angeles College adjunct professor of child, family, and education services, passed away in February 2024 at the age of 82. Regina dedicated over 50 years to the field of early childhood education, teaching at numerous colleges. She taught child development from 1995 until 2020 at ELAC, Mission, and Trade. Regina's passion for children and their artistic expressions led her to curate a collection of children's art for over 50 years. This collection formed the foundation for her book, The Wonderful, Whimsical, Sometimes Woeful World of Children's Symbolic Drawing by Regina McLaughlin. Though her work remains unfinished, it stands as a testament to her love for and dedication to children's creativity. Regina leaves behind her devoted daughter, Leambra Harvey, who will forever treasure her mother as an inspiring mentor, trusted confidant, and fountain of unconditional love. Regina's enduring legacy is one of kindness, intelligence, and benevolence, which will continue to resonate with all who had the privilege of knowing her. So on behalf of the entire LACCD community, we extend our deepest condolences to the McLaughlin family at this most difficult time. If you please join me in a moment of silence for Ms. McLaughlin. Thank you. So now we'll move on to item B. The Ralph M. Brown Act and the LACCD's Board Policy 2340 provides the opportunity for a member of the public to place a discussion item on the agenda. We have received a public agenda request for discussion from Jordan Slack, President of Student Power at Los Angeles City College. Before Mr. Slack has provided the floor for this item, Madam Secretary, do we have any public speakers who wish to provide comment on House LACCD student and workers now?
Yes, ma'am. We have 3. Should I call them first up?
Okay, so we'll have Mr. Slack provide his discussion points, and then we'll have the additional speakers.
Okay.
Mr. Slack?
Good afternoon.
Sorry, before you get started, you have a total of 20 minutes
On the item.
on this particular item.
Oh, wonderful. I wish I'd known that. Good afternoon. First of all, I want to wish everyone a happy International Workers' Day. All of the unions present, AFT, SEIU, the building trades, and all of the student workers who don't have unions to represent them and often get paid less than minimum wage. We're here today because students are in crisis. Over half of students in this district identify as housing insecure. At least 17% are currently without a home. Students are really in crisis. So, we've delivered these demands before, but we haven't seen any action. So we're here to present them again and hope that you will support them. Number 1 is to create immediate housing solutions. This could look like a voucher program. This is just a check that you could cut tomorrow. I know you've proposed to build dorms in 10 years, but students don't have 10 years. And we're largely a campus of non-traditional students, right? And there's tons of empty apartments throughout Los Angeles. So what we really need is to pay the rent. That's something we can do right now, whether it's through this $500 million of tax money, or whether it's through the foundation or revenue or grants. We need you to find the money wherever you decide and house students right now. We also want oversight. We want student oversight over student resources. So as you build this long-term plan, we should have a council of students to oversee it, so it actually reflects our needs. When students graduate, they shouldn't just be dropped out of whatever resources are available. We need a program that helps transition them into their next situation. And lastly, we need you to just treat this as the emergency that it is. We need the housing plan to go much faster. We need the rent vouchers to be immediate. We need solutions right now. While I'm here, I would be remiss to not mention the students all around the country who are rising up on their campuses and demanding justice. We know that the infrastructure in Gaza has been destroyed. Every university has been blown up, and people's housing has been lost. I believe it's 80% of their housing infrastructure. So I want to uplift their voices, and a word of advice to the Board of Trustees: it's a bad time to be against student movements. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, board. My name is Danielle Johnson. I am the current presidential candidate for the student government at LACCD, Los Angeles City College. I personally have previously been homeless as a student. Once school got challenging, I dropped out and re-enrolled when I had a job that I could depend on. And right now, I am a current student. I have been for the last year. Right now, 14% of our students are homeless. We know that this district has money that they can use to help our students. And so we ask respectfully if you can allocate some money to us. Even if it's not exactly $500 million, some money will go a long way. My fellow advocates and I are here to represent the portion of our scholars who are financially burdened. It isn't always easy to get a financially stabilizing job in Los Angeles without a college degree. So many students, they push themselves through college until they can get that. And it was hard for me too, but I found it, and many other students found it too. As students, we are constantly urged to focus on our academics while enrolled. But for most students, this is just not realistic. That expectation is not a realistic standard for college students, at least not our college students. There are so many memes and relatable content on social media about struggling through college, from eating cheap top ramen to having roommates and scrounging whatever change they can just so they can get a better life for themselves. And I don't want that for our students. Even if I had to go through it, which I kind of did, it doesn't have to be that way for everyone. And as I said before, even if it's not $500 million, 1 million would go a long way. My students need help to get their degrees, certificates, and credits, and you can help. So I please ask you to listen to us and open your wallets as much as you're able to. Thank you.
Thank you. So next up, we have Laura Espinosa.
Is this move? My name is Laura Espinosa, and I'm a founding member of the Los Angeles City College Student Power Club and Ralph Bunche Scholar. In early 2022, a student worker and I met with multiple education and city officials on the housing issues students of LACC were facing. One of the officials we spoke with was Steve Vetez. Hello, Mr. Vetez. Mr. Vetez insisted the student body needed to organize and push LACC to act on behalf of the students in need. Here we are. He asked us why ASG was not involved with our efforts, and we had no polite response. Vetez insisted we form an alliance with ASG and advocate for our urgent housing needs. He asked us to go to ASG and directly quote him saying, it is ASG's main responsibility to advocate for the urgent needs of all students, including student workers and the houseless. Unfortunately, I'm here to report that the attitudinal inherency of ASG and its agenda prevents any alliance from forming between them and the students demanding change. After meeting with Vetez, LACC deans have worked against the efforts for positive change and reform around advocacy for student needs. Let's fast forward to the housing project now for LACC, slated to be completed in 8 years. We find administrators locking arms with you in telling us that the campus has resources for students to tap into while the housing project is completed. And that's not really accurate. I mean, have you not heard of reports about racism tied to City Cares, the program responsible for helping the houseless students of LACC? Even ASG members tied to City Cares, the program responsible for helping these students, has claimed that they don't trust City Cares. Many students don't, after being let down and discriminated against. In response to your claims of having adequate services to help students while the housing project is completed, I ask that you stop misrepresenting what is offered. If the services were efficient, I would not have had to house honors students. And we would not see a significant amount of LACC students reporting housing insecurities. Even one of the students running for ASG currently as president is homeless. You should know that. What does that say about the LACC campus? I ask that you immediately support the student housing demands by the Student Power Club. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Was that the?
Harriet. You have a Elliot? Elliot.
Okay. So next up?
Elliot.
Yes.
Hi. I'm Harriet Elliott. I'm taking 2 classes auditing at LACC physics. I was at the LA City Council yesterday, and they're starting a new department for homelessness. The councilperson Rodriguez. Do I have a lot of faith in it? Well, that's all we have. The whole America is changing so much with this homelessness. It's depressing to everyone. It's so sickening. And I've heard people justify it saying, well, on earth as it is in heaven, there is a hierarchy. I don't like that. Nobody likes that. We are not supposed to be like that. My group, these people are working for student wages, higher student wages. The young people in this Welcome Center are awesome. And it looks like one woman was fired after trying to help me. My case was like intractable, and she's doing her name's Gabby. She's a little thing. And I was thinking, I need lessons from her on how to be assertive. She said, IT is just right around the corner. Why shouldn't they just straighten out your problem? Well, obviously, her boss didn't like that. I haven't seen her. It's been about at least a month. So they didn't like her attitude. They let her go. If she hasn't been there, she's let go. Anyway, I fully support these people getting, there's a lot of poor people there and they need housing. Thank you.
Thank you all. So this Colleagues, this was,
Excuse me, I just wanted to say a very brief word. It's a few seconds. I had the luck that I'm living in affordable housing with the West Hollywood city. And I'm going to LACC college, and I had several times homeless students, fellow students crashing on my couch. So I'm witnessing how bad it really is.
thank you. So colleagues, this was not a discussion item, but students, thank you all for sharing your concerns. Please don't leave here under the impression that we are not concerned. But our Vice President Hernandez is chairing our Basic Needs Committee where we discuss housing issues. Students are welcome to come to those meetings. They're held at a variety of colleges each month. So I encourage you to attend those meetings and share your concerns. And I understand that you might assume that the Board of Trustees would be aware of every issue happening at every college where we're educating over 200,000 students. So we do not know every individual case. We look at the situation overall and really do our best to try to manage the situation and get support for you all. But, this isn't something that we need to vote on, but colleagues, if, anyone would like to say something briefly so that we can move on. Trustee Hoffman.
Thank you, President Henderson. I just want a clarification because I did hear our first speaker indicate that students and student workers are being paid less than minimum wage. And I just want to get some clarification, Chancellor, because it would be illegal to pay a student less than minimum wage. Minimum wage is $16.50 an hour, $16.50 an hour. And I thought that our students were earning more, around $20 an hour. If we are paying students less than minimum wage, pardon me? I'm sorry. Can you come to the mic? Because I just wanted to clarify the wages for student workers so that we have that on the record. Yes, please come to the mic.
I'm going to give the mic mostly to some student workers, but my understanding is that student workers are not considered employees.
Correct.
Instead, it's treated as a part of financial aid.
Sometimes correct.
So they actually are lacking in many what would be employee rights because
Yes.
of their designation. But maybe you can hear from a few student workers now.
Yes, hi.
Hi.
My name is Aurora and I am an international student from Italy. My range of pay is $16.25, but the minimum wage should be $16.90. So I've been thinking of why I'm getting paid less than the minimum wage. And in my specific case, since I'm an international student, the only opportunity that I have to work here in America is on campus.
Yes.
So I don't have a way out. So I'm asking you to look into it. And if you can help me, as well as all the other student workers on campus, we would really appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm sure Ms. Gordon or someone who has the pay scale can verify what that minimum wage is.
Student workers that are dual lingual are supposed to also be making more, and they're not. I actually quit my student worker position because I was making $16 an hour, and I was being asked to work way beyond the scope of what a student worker is supposed to be doing. They were having me, they were giving me assignments that were supposed to be for someone more qualified. I mean, I was qualified for them, but if they're not going to pay me for certain things that should be going to administrators or other positions of higher ranking, I shouldn't be making close to minimum wage or minimum wage. I should be making at least $20 an hour if I'm going to work beyond the scope of what a student worker should be working. And also because they were piling my work so high, one of the other reasons I had to quit was because it was impacting my GPA.
Students, please, before you leave, if you could give your contact information to our secretary and the chancellor, or we'll have someone follow up.
We just have one more.
So according to me, this is not all of the, not even the worst part. You guys are trying your best to educate students, right? Students, most of them are not even getting educated and they're not really learning. They're just going through that degree to just get a job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for making that point. Please do not leave without giving the board secretary your contact information if you'd like follow.
Can I make a quick comment? Sorry. I looked into the student worker like jobs expectation, and the number one policy that is listed in our district policies is that your student worker position is supposed to sorry, how do you say, support you in your educational needs. So the work is in the title, work study. You should be able to study at work and do your homework at work during break time. So the overload should not be so heavy to where you feel like you need to quit your job, because that defeats the purpose and also violates the policy listed in our district. So you could definitely take that to your supervising person and tell them that they're violating the policy of our district. And just to also go back to the student workers who are bilingual, the resolution to pay student workers more who are bilingual, the resolution just passed at SSSCP. And so now we're just waiting for that legislation to be approved by the state so that we can implement it at all California community colleges. So we are working towards your guys's demands and wants. And I just want you to know that we are aware. So thank you for just vocalizing that today and reminding us about the work that still needs to be done.
Thank you, Trustee Cordova. Colleagues, anybody else?
Yes.
Go ahead.
No,
Yeah.
just want to again reiterate and thank the students for being here. I did have the as chair of facilities the ability to meet with Trustee Hernandez, who is chairing our basic needs ad hoc committee, and she made me aware, Chancellor, of some perhaps some support that she might need, and also in order to kind of make this a more robust housing program. So I would, if you could touch bases with Trustee Hernandez, also Chief Facilities Executive as well. I do think that there is an urgency to this, and I think we're hearing it today from the students. We have been studying this. I think there's been 2 studies, I think, in the past. And so we want to make sure that the studies are done. I think we've said that. We had a committee of the whole last week on student housing. So I think this is, for me, it's an opportunity for us to act to ensure that some of these timelines are perhaps expedited, and that we get all the resources we need to be able to act for, or at least be able to support our students when it comes to housing and security. There's a lot of work to do, but I do think right now is the time to do it. And I think that we have the, at least from the board here, the ability to do it, the political will. I know we've been, going over this over and over, but this is the time to act. So I really appreciate the students for coming forward, taking the time, and I'm excited about the future. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you to the students. I really do appreciate the continued organizing that's happened. I think when we had a Zoom meeting back then, we were meeting in person at all. And so to see the sort of doggedness and diligence that's here, it is disappointing to see and hear the lack of comfort with the associated student government that's being described here. So if that's something that, I mean, all clubs should be able to feel comfortable with the associated student government. It's a structure that communicates to the administration, to us here. I know our student trustee comes from City College, and it's a valuable voice on this board, and she works really hard to represent that. But we got to think if we can task our president at City and any other of the campuses that are where this disconnect is happening, where there's not feeling welcome is happening, to figure it out, because student government should have wide open doors to all student clubs, and they should feel like they're part of it and part of the dialogue as well, and part of the representing the student voice. If not, why have ASG? Can't represent the students, why have it? Secondly, I know there's in the conversation that was exchanged, and these are things that are important to get us to have updates on. There's an element of our student workers that relate to our staff and faculty, trying to understand how it's supervised, how it works together. I think very near, we should refresh with our staff guilds and talk about the best way, because I've heard concerns with them as well, and trying to understand the process that goes forward, and sometimes scenarios that sound like abuse, hoping it's not abuse, but we got to get clear on it. And when we did the last agreement, I know 7 years ago, 5 years ago, pre-COVID, and with a lot of sort of conversations, been, the city, the state have all increased minimum wages. We've taken it, as an effort. I know it's a student worker and a stipend scenario, worker experience scenario, but there's also real work here, and we need to treat it in the same way that we would treat any of our workers. So I think we should make sure that in that dialogue with workers, that we can have this open conversation. And if the way the federal government sees work study is not the way that we see workers, then we need to think about a different kind of approach and other kinds of ways to make sure that people are dealt with in very basic, right, common ways that are expectations of all workers in the state of California. So, I mean, I will comments on housing, echo. I think there's a lot more work. I don't want to see 10 years. That's not something I've ever heard. But if they're repeating it, it must be floating somewhere. So if we can get down to the bottom of that issue, our emergency housing, if it's not getting communicated very clearly, because that's now, if a student's home, I mean, we pay for that. That's that. When you talk about setting aside $1 million, we did that last year, and that if there's a disconnect there, we got to figure out what that disconnect is, so people should know immediately. Now, it's not for all students. It's for students in that critical crisis, homeless crisis scenario, because that's where it was set aside, and we're paying for that on a monthly basis and this yearly basis. So if students don't think that's a resource, that's a problem, because we do have space available from the last time I checked. So there's some communications here, but thank you, students, for continuing to be diligent about this and bringing it forward. And sometimes, putting it here is to get clear on comments that are sometimes it's communicated differently to the board, but sometimes it's also to understand and acknowledge maybe what is happening in the district administratively isn't getting down in the best possible ways. But there also are some things to learn, to be cleared up, to make sure that the mindset and the philosophy and the approach are all on the same page. But it sounds like there's lots of work that need, and President Henderson, if we can get an update later, whether it's the Chancellor's comment or some other, there's 4 or 5 levels to the comments they made, a couple that we've mentioned up here, but I think it's important to make sure the students have confidence in the structure and the systems that are here, and the work that is being done, that they know it's there, and if it's not being done in the best possible way, that we got to fix it. So.
Yeah, so I just got back to school after a long hiatus because I knew I wasn't going to be able to afford to go to school and work as well. I'm currently working very, very part-time, living in my car. I have been to LACC multiple times trying to get answers on how to get help with housing, student aid, et cetera. I kind of get the runaround. Every time I go, I've been for hours going from building to building, person to person, trying to find out where to get assistance with housing. No one answers my questions. They just send me somewhere else. So if it's about knowing how to access the resources, it's not happening.
Want to answer?
Thank you for.
Yeah, I am one of the board members on the basic needs. I was appointed by past President Bella. And so I can say that we are definitely a work in progress as far as, wanting to hear your feedback. I think in the fall, we did host something at LACC to go over basic needs, where it was like a whole half day where we were asking for feedback and things like that, because as we implement and decide how we're going to allocate these funds, what we're going to build, how we're going to build it, who we're going to partner with, every step of the way, we do want student feedback. And so I'm very excited to see you all here. And I hope to see you at our monthly meetings, because it will be very valuable. Unfortunately, maybe not for you in its immediacy, but the generations that come after you, right? When I started on this board a couple years ago, we did also vote to immediately provide beds and housing for our students at critical need. And so we have been frequently asking about those for updates, status updates. We've gone to the locations. We've had those people that we've partnered with come to our meetings to give us feedback. We've heard from our students being housed in these locations, what the experience is like, and we are constantly trying to work to ensure that we are advocating for you and that you are in a safe space to have a conducive learning environment. So we really appreciate your feedback. I would also say that it is the foresight and vision of this board that also push forward this bond to allow us to do the building and plans that we have for the housing piece. And so, some of it does take longer than we would like, but we are actively and creatively working on this, and we would love to hear your feedback and experiences and ideas.
VP and Chancellor, we'll close out with a comment from the Chancellor.
Thank you, Board President. Students, thank you for visiting us today. I want to underscore a couple of points that were made. One is that every campus has a single point of contact for basic needs. Every single campus. So if you do not know any student in this district who that is, please contact your Vice President of Student Services, college president. They know who that person is. They have designated that person to provide resources, food, housing, vouchers, transportation, mental health, childcare, the other kinds of supports that we know can sometimes get in the way of academic success. So we want to underscore every campus has this. We resource this as part of the formal responsibilities of the members of our team on each of the campuses to do that. Furthermore, we work with the LA County supervisors area office, if you will, and they have designated and supported and funded a peer navigator to work with our colleges as well that can assist with getting our students additional county resources in the areas that I've mentioned as well. Lastly, our college foundations, many of them have opportunities, emergency grants, food, and others kinds of support so that our students can indeed get the support that they need today. Our colleges are equipped with food pantries. They're equipped with sometimes clothing closets for students who need that as well. We have free transportation with LA Metro for all LACCD community college students. Every student, it's a free pass on the Metro for all the services there. So we want to make sure that these services are being translated to each one of you. Final thing I'll mention, Madam President, the members of the board, is that as it relates to student employment, we know that student tutor jobs can be amongst the best on-campus jobs available. And we are now trying to move the state legislature to pass a bill that would allow part-time students to serve as student tutors throughout the various subjects as well. So we're taking the lead on that as a district to provide one additional opportunity for students to work and stay on campus. So we want to make sure that the students have opportunities there. And it was mentioned here about our emergency housing. We have over 100 students that are housed right now through our 6-7 partners that we have throughout the community providing housing today. Our college presidents and the district has set aside $3 to $5 million probably in total over the last 2, 3, 4 years so that we can make this available. I gave you time to speak. Let me speak, please. Thank you. I understand. Okay, well,
Students, we gave you an opportunity to speak. Please don't be disruptive in the
your
meeting.
voices are heard.
Please, please.
So I'll end with that. And again, students who are enrolled at our LACCD colleges, we have built in some infrastructure and support for our students who are unhoused and unfed. So please access those resources.
Thank you, Chancellor. So now on to item C on the agenda. The First Amendment and the Brown Act guarantee a member of the public the right to criticize a public employee or public official in the performance of their duties. However, speakers are encouraged to focus their comments on issues relevant to the conduct of the public's business rather than on public or unrelated matters. Speakers are reminded that the Brown Act and First Amendment do not protect defamatory statements made which may subject the speaker to personal liability. Madam Board Secretary, we have two requests to speak. Were there any?
Yes,
additions?
ma'am. For agenda matters, only two that are left.
Okay, so we have two speakers that have requested. The first is Mr. Rolando Cuevas. Is he in here? Or is he on Zoom?
Mr. Cuevas?
Is he online?
Okay, I don't think so. We'll go to the next one.
Okay, Natalie Leaf. I
Natalie?
apologize for butchering the last name.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, you have 3 minutes.
Okay, I just wanted to say, congratulations to Alexi. My name's Natalie Goodlife, by the way. I am a third-year transfer student at Los Angeles City College. I am also the Associate Student Government, currently the Associate Student Government Executive of Clubs. And I just wanted to say to Alexi, thank you so much. Congratulations. And you did a wonderful job as student trustee. I believed in you and you did what you got done. And hopefully to see you at graduation. Thank you.
Thank you, Natalie. You're so sweet.
Hello.
One moment, please. We'll call you when we're ready. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Sorry about that.
So Natalie, were you done? Okay, thank you for that. Mr. Cuevas, you on?
Yes, can you hear me now, Madam Chair?
Yes, sir. You have 3 minutes.
Okay, Madam Chair, just real quick, just to let you know, there's a delay in the pop-up. So I was here waiting, then it pops up and then it lets me in, okay?
No
So
worries.
please, all right, just want to let you know, because we have difficulty connecting. Okay, here I go. I'm speaking to the Chancellor's resolution, okay, just that you're aware of what I'm speaking to. I want the Chancellor to start his resolution by apologizing to all the victims of sexual harassment, from Miriam Medina to Sabrina Odom and all the countless people that have been victims of sexual harassment. I mean, here's the man that told our own general counsel that Mexican women serve him and they like it. Yet the women on the board stood silent. I want to ask another question. Why is the LACCD paying for Steve Veras' legal fees for his case against Medina if he works for the state, for a state senator, and he probably did that in his time? Okay? So I think that it's very disingenuous for this chancellor to even be speaking about sexual harassment because he has no credibility. He cost us $10 million, which is the equivalent of 2,000 classes. Come on, board, wake up. Don't be hypocrites. This man is a narcissist. Steve Veras, shame on you. Andrew Hoffman, you got to rise up for us and speak up, okay? You were responsible for AB 1705, and you were responsible for cutting the student work hour. Remember when you did that for Vilma Butler? That's why those students are starving, because of you, Andrew Hoffman. I was there when you cut the student work hours so you could get the endorsement of the classified staff. That's what you should be telling those poor students. And you know what? Those students should be raising hell and not being shut down by that chancellor, because he goes up and gives all these great presentations and you're hearing the customer. The customer is the students, not the damn unions. It is the students who are the customers. Shame on you, Francisco. You should withdraw that resolution until you could recognize that you failed the district, you failed Sabrina Odom, you put Maribel Medina on leave illegally. Illegally. Please tell the board when you posted that on an agenda. You slipped it through. You're probably going to fire that poor woman, and you're talking about sexual harassment? Come on, let's get serious, Francisco, for once. Let's stop making this board a clown show. You got Steve Veras, who's a clown to your right. Kelsolino, rise up, please. I can't take this no more, guys. I hate coming to the district that I love so much, that I grew up within that district as a student leader, fighting for students, only to hear students that they can't even get the damn basic services that you guys have been bragging up there month after month about student housing. We passed the bond. We have all this. Come on, let's get serious. Students are the clients, not the faculty. Students are the clients. They are, without students, there is nothing. Stop talking about students and then telling them to be quiet. This is their board meeting. And I have another thing. There's a lot of rats up at West LA. I have a friend who's a custodian, told me there's a lot of rats. And I think he was talking about the board of trustees and the chancellor. And he goes, no, West
Your time is up,
LA.
sir. Thank you.
Mr. Cuevas, your time is up. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day. God bless you. I have another issue to talk about too.
So now we'll move on to item D on the agenda. The Los Angeles Community College District recognizes that we occupy land originally and still inhabited and cared for by the Tongva, Tataviam, Serrano, Quiche, and Chumash peoples. We honor and pay respect to their elders and descendants, past, present, and emerging, as they continue their stewardship of these lands and waters. We acknowledge that settler colonization resulted in land seizure, disease, subjugation, slavery, relocation, broken promises, genocide, and multi-generational trauma. This acknowledgement demonstrates our responsibility and commitment to truth, healing, and reconciliation, and to elevating the stories, culture, and community of the original inhabitants of Los Angeles County. We are grateful to have the opportunity to live and work and to teach and educate on these ancestral lands. We are dedicated to growing and sustaining relationships with Native peoples and local tribal governments, including the Ferdinando Tataviam Band of Mission Indians, Gabrieleno Tongva Indians of California Tribal Council, Gabrieleno Tongva San Gabriel Band of Mission Indians, the Gabrieleno Band of Mission Indians Quiche Nation, San Manuel Band of Mission Indians, San Fernando Band of Mission Indians, and the San Fernando Band of Mission Indians. Before we proceed, Chancellor, are there any changes to the agenda?
Madam President, there is one edit to item X3. It's a human resources item, item X3. If you could include, we are speaking of and are asking the board to consider the matter for Dr. Regina Smith. The name was omitted from the item. I'd like to include it so that there's clarity. This noted as the Chancellor's Equity and Justice Fellow, but I'd like to make it super clear that we are referring to Dr. Regina Smith, item X3, Madam.
Thank you so much. So noted. So may I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda and order of business?
So moved.
Moved by VP Eno.
I second.
Thank you. Second by Student Trustee Cordova. Roll call, please.
Student trustee Cordova's advisory vote.
Yes.
Trustee Boulna absent. Trustee Henderson.
Yes.
Trustee Hoffman.
Yes.
Trustee Eno.
Yes.
Trustee Vella. Trustee Vettis.
Yes.
Thank you, colleagues. May I have a motion and a second to approve the regular board meeting and closed session minutes of April 10th, 2024?
So moved.
Thank you. Moved by VP Eno,
I'll second.
second by Trustee Hoffman. Roll call, please.
Student trustee Cordova's advisory vote.
Yes.
Trustee Boulna absent. Trustee Henderson.
Yes.
Trustee Hoffman.
Yes.
Trustee Eno.
Yes.
Trustee Vella.
Yes.
Trustee Vettis.
Thank you, Madam Board Secretary. Now on to item E. Do any members of the resource table wish to be recognized at this time to make comments before the board? Please come forth.
Good afternoon. My name is Angela Echeverry, and I am currently serving as a president of the District Academic Senate. First of all, I want to thank all the students who came to speak out about their housing needs. We're very concerned about serving our students to the best of our ability, and I'm sure that it's important for us to hear those voices, even though some of the exchanges may be a bit uncomfortable. I want to talk first of all about the spring plenary session. So last month in San Jose, the State Academic Senate met and passed 31 resolutions. 7 of those resolutions actually came from LACCD faculty, including my colleague Jeff Hernandez, Robert Stewart, John Freitas from City College, and myself. Some of the resolutions that were approved, first of all, a new discipline in artificial intelligence was approved. Revisions to nursing and art disciplines, minimum qualifications. And on the legislative front, we voted to support SB 895 as the State Academic Senate. So that's the bill to establish a baccalaureate degree in the nursing pilot program. Also, AB 2586, which is deals with undocumented student employment. AB 2093, which extends the college promise to the baccalaureate degree students in the community college system. And AB 2407, which deals with sexual harassment complaints in the three systems, the three higher education systems of California. There were also resolutions to expand access to minority serving institution designations. So some of you may be aware that colleges can only apply for one designation. So that was approved. And there is a lot of concern about the implementation of AB 1705 in particular. And one of the concerns has to do with the impact on STEM students. And so there were resolutions to inquire about the true legislative intent of AB 1705 and to advocate for the ability of STEM students to take pre-calculus classes as elective courses. We are very concerned about the impact on STEM students. As far as the non-credit resolution that the board had last month and was tabled, I do want to let you know that there is a work group that will be meeting to discuss proposed revisions or amendments to that resolution and to address some of the concerns of non-credit and adult education faculty. On the budget front, I just want to say that it's increasingly clear that tough budget times are ahead. Based on the district's own projections, even under the rosiest enrollment scenarios, it is clear that our reserves are going to fall below the 10% threshold by 25-26. Therefore, it's more important than ever that we have transparency, accountability, and do our best to prevent waste, mismanagement, and fraud, especially when students are in such great need. So on that account, I also want to talk a little bit about the audits that the District Academic Senate has requested in the areas of sexual harassment and financial and procurement irregularities. We want to, first of all, acknowledge some of the work and effort that has been done in this area to address these concerns. However, we still have some unanswered questions, and we look forward to these conversations. As you probably know, it's been over 6 months since the Southwest story broke at, in the LA Times, and the story surrounding the $10 million jury verdict against the district for sexual harassment and retaliation and failure to prevent sexual harassment. And we cannot afford to be paying out, these types of judgments when we are not doing a good job at preventing sexual harassment. Some have said that this is not a Senate issue, but I would argue that when we're paying out $10 million here, $7 million in legal fees, it impacts the academic programs and the fiscal stability of the district. As you know, the DAS is going to be entertaining a vote of no confidence in these areas. I want you to know that we take this very seriously. We don't take this matter lightly, and we will deliberately read and discuss the district's responses and efforts in this area. So with that, I want to thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Good afternoon, President Henderson, members of the board, and Chancellor Rodriguez. For the record, I am Dr. Deborah Harrington, President of the Teamsters, representing our deans. There are numerous things to recognize, advocate for, and appreciate this month, as evidenced by the several resolutions that are coming up today. Our unit joins the board in celebrating the Asian American, Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islander, and Jewish American communities that we represent and serve. Our deans are on the front lines of bringing resources and support to our foster or former foster youth. And we also are on the front lines of ensuring that mental health awareness is baked into all the programs and services we provide to students. Our unit is exceedingly proud of our nursing program, so we're happy to see that resolution. And we also join in celebrating Classified School Employees Week this month. Hey, y'all. And our deans are firmly committed to promoting and doing our utmost to ensure a safe, inclusive, and respectful environment, free of harassment and hostility in any form. And we've also taken protective steps in our new contract to address fair and respectful treatment. Our unit will be holding its spring membership meeting this Friday, focusing on our new contract and understanding its application to ensure fair and equitable working conditions for our deans. We do want to call attention to a couple of the new contract provisions that we are increasingly frustrated in our attempts to have resolved. First, we still have several members who have successfully grieved to have vacation payout given to them and were promised that these funds would be coming to them for the last 3 months and who still have not received this pay. As a result, these members are actually losing vacation time as they remain at their max and are not accruing hours. We have repeatedly raised this issue with HR and it is still not addressed. Additionally, payroll has still not issued the additional vacation payout our approved members are due, as they were paid at last year's rate versus this year's rate. Similarly, even though we have repeatedly brought another issue to HR, that of payroll creating a code so that VPs at our colleges can assign extra pay stipends for additional duties, this too has not been addressed. Literally months have gone by without these issues being addressed in a timely manner. Our members do deserve better. These are standard operational issues that should be prioritized and resolved. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Chancellor Rodriguez, Madam President, excuse me, and all the members of the board, and especially the student trustee. My name is Bruce Hicks. For the record, I am the SEIU 721 president, the exclusive representative for all of the supervisors who work here in the district, the hardworking people who work in the district. I also want to say hello to our SEIU members at home and everyone in the audience. Good afternoon. A couple things that I have to talk about today. So June 21st, SEIU is having their professional development day. These are funds that we, as part of the negotiation process, developed to give our members professional development. Because of COVID, we haven't been able to use those funds in the past. So we have a plethora of money, and that's, we have some money, but we're gonna use it to the best interest. So we're working with the HR department, or excuse me, ELR department, to do some presentations that our members have asked for. We also have invited the Personnel Commission. Putting you on the spot there, Ryan. We've invited the Personnel Commission to present to our members. People have a lot of questions about what happens in the Employee Labor Relations Office, what happens in the personnel, and we're outlining some things. We also have one of the board members from the Personnel Commission coming, and some other people that are coming. So we want to invite you. I think I've made a couple of overtures to a few board members, but this is the first time that our members are hearing this publicly, because we're going through the procurement process right now to get that taken care of. So I just want to let everybody know that it's going to take place on June 21st, LACCD, SEIU 721 Professional Development. And I'm remiss to say I didn't get a chance to really give some respect to the students, because they're talking about a very difficult subject, and sometimes you have to be comfortable being uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable hearing those type of conversations, but I have all the respect and admiration that they came out. They're representing the students, 17,000 students. Not everybody have housing securities, but they're being a voice for them, and I really respect them for that. And I just want to give them that respect, thankfully. So I'm going to pivot a little bit outside of some of the ways that I normally go about of talking about a couple of things. I want to bring an issue publicly to the board that some of our members, including myself, is having an issue with. And it has to do with the interactions that we're having with our sister union, and a lot of them are in the house right now. So I want to say hello to you, and we supporting you on your effort to get more wages. Of course, we're supporting you on that. So the issue that we're having is about the interactions that are taking place here at the board. I get a lot of information back from our members about the interactions that's happening when we have conflict within a district. Conflict is a regular portion, a regular issue that occurs in any organization, especially when it's large as ours. SEIU has potential conflicts, grievances in every location at the district, including the district office. But we don't bring those here to the open forum. We work our process, which is the union contract that we spend all this time developing. So there are some very robust conflict resolution systems ingrained into our contract, and we've used those. We don't bring those issues here. We give each individual college the opportunity to address those issues, and we work our contract the way it's supposed to be worked. Or why are we spending all this time negotiating for 9 months for conflict resolution, and then we bypass that and everyone, and then we bring our issues to the board? It's kind of like a shock and awe from our members' perspective. This is not about me. This is about what we do as SEIU to protect our members. So when they bring issues, we have to address them. So I looked at it for a while and I said, well, that's just advocacy. I'm an advocate. I understand how special interests work, but I think it extends more to that. And let me explain why. I think it's robbing not only the members of Local 99, but it's also robbing our members of due process. And how is that? If you go in a fire department, if you go in a theater and you're a fire, it's going to cause a stampede. So when you use words like bullying, harassment, and all these things, without giving the person on the other end to defend themselves, when you point to a college, everyone in the district, at least people in our community, know who works at those colleges, who's dealing with those issues. You have to give those members our members, the opportunity to address those concerns. Another issue that I have with my sister union is the interactions that takes place when there is conflict. The emails that come are very unprofessional, very aggressive, derogatory. I don't have an issue with advocacy, but you can on one end say you're being harassed and you're being intimidated, and then turn around and create that behavior when you're trying to resolve a conflict. That's totally an issue. I've never brought whatever our issues that we had here to the board. We will work our contract to the end to get the resolution that we need, up to and including going all the way to arbitration if that's what happens. This is what we do. So this isn't an issue with Local 99 per se, because I have many colleagues. My son is a Local 99 member, proud member at Trade Tech. Many of the people who we've developed have come to our unit, have come from Local 99. But the issue is about how we handle conflict. So I'm here to express my concern is that I'm not looking for no resolution. As long as my members are being drugged in open board meetings without having the ability to address them, then I'll be here to stand for them. So just to center back on that, I want to come back to the fact of what I was opening to. There is a robust conflict resolution process ingrained in each contract. I'm going to continue to work ours. We try to solve problems at the lowest level. If I have a problem, or if one of our people have a problem, we reach out to whoever the campus person is, and we try to develop a conversation so we can solve whatever the issues are. It's not fair, so let's say equitable, to take the smallest problems and mushroom them to a point where we cannot come to a reasonable resolution. So I really want to share that because the pragmatic approach that our members take, our leadership take, has been very helpful in resolving conflicts in the district. And not once, on plenty of occasions, we've grieved to arbitration, we've worked our process and we've been very successful in it. So I don't have a problem with people advocate. And I'll say this lastly, I shared that concern with employee labor's relations, but I never followed up on it. It was more of a conversation aside. Maybe you should address that. Then I thought about it. I said, well, wait a minute. SEIU is exclusive representative of our members. So if there is a concern, it's going to come from us. So just to reiterate, there's not an issue with advocating, but when it goes past advocating to attacking employees, then we have an issue. We have issues. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else?
All right, so good afternoon, Board President Henderson, trustees, and Chancellor Rodriguez. I would like to say thank you for the patience exuded to everyone. As you know, with elections and the re-elections of our 2023-2025 cycle, as you have incumbents and then newly elected, there's always that different shifting when it's a process of waiting for that process to play out. So I thank you for that patience. And as we're coming to the conclusion of that, we are hoping to now get to the work and to get to the business. That's my whole thing. Let's get to the business, right? By the very core definition of unions, it is to protect and push the rights for our workers to make sure it's equitable. I do that and I stand here as the elected president. So I've heard our members loud and clear and I thank them for that because that's my whole motto is classified or educators too, which is beautiful because we have a classified day of action. I think we invited you guys to. I don't know if anybody doing that turnaround flight, but it's a one day, which is May 21st from 10 to 12, where we're looking at pushing some of these bills that support classified on a legislative area so that when we bring it to you, we have that kind of support to kind of argue those points or really kind of come to a beautiful, what is this new word that I love? I'm always looking up new keywords. I'm not going to figure it out right now, but I heard it and I said, let me write that down. But I want to extend that to you again. I'll leave some more information. I do want to stand with our students. And I did hear something that was mentioned, but classified are not in opposition for student workers. In fact, I've employed 15 student workers myself. We do believe in a balance and this beautiful merger. And when we talk about transition, I always educate my student workers that there's a super C. There's all these opportunities in a merit system for you to work your way in. What does that give you? Tuition reimbursement. What does that give you? An equitable salary for you to actually live on, because I was a struggling student. I wasn't, there was the ramen noodles. I can't even eat Hot Pockets to this day. So I understand the urgency, right? And so I do see the work that you guys are doing, and I do see their arguments and their cases, but I want you to know that classified do stand with our student workers. So that is something I'm really going to push. So that is really that. I say thank you for that. And I can't wait to kind of get and build rapport and welcome you guys back to the classified and have those meetings and to understand how we can kind of support ourselves together and again, serve the mission of our district. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Board of Trustees and Chancellor. My name is Chrisan Ozan, representing SEIU Local 99. On April 16th, the bargaining team for SEIU Local 99 met with the district negotiation team. During the meeting, we put forth a living wage proposal for the first year that we deem fair and just. Regrettably, we have yet to receive any feedback from the district. We find this lack of response unacceptable, disrespectful, and an insult to our members. Our bargaining unit mainly comprises maintenance and operation workers, including custodial staff, maintenance assistants, gardeners, groundkeepers, and other classification. These roles are physically demanding. Our members not only handle the physical aspect of their job, but also must navigate toxic work environment at several campuses. Local 99 members are treated with negative attitudes and behaviors from their supervisors and targeted for dismissal for speaking up about their poor work environment and union rights. The problem with managers and supervisors bullying Local 99 members have increased since the pandemic, along with the homeless population on campuses. Additionally, they work in hazardous and unsafe conditions as demonstrated by the rat infestation issue at West LA College since May 2023 that was brought to the board's attention last month. Yet, the district failed to acknowledge the hard work of Local 99 employees. We are facing severe staff shortages across all job classifications, especially among the custodial staff. Our members our members vividly remember the treatment we received during the COVID-19 pandemic. While others could stay home safely with their families, we had to return to work at the height of the COVID pandemic as essential workers to work in deserted buildings. However, fair essential pay was not given to us despite being labeled as essential. Members of the LACCD Board of Trustees, today we are here to voice our strong dissatisfaction with the way we're being treated within the district. We are the frontline workers. Our role involves tasks such as cleaning restrooms, maintaining classrooms, tending to the campus grounds, removing dead rodents, cleaning rat droppings, and addressing maintenance issues with limited resources in our effort to create a conducive learning environment for our students, staff, and faculty. We should be asking for much more than what we have requested, yet our requests and concerns are simply ignored. We find it unacceptable for the district to offer us a 10% wage increase when Local 99 members at LAUSD received a 30% increase in 2023 for the same job classifications. With the increase in prices for gas, rent, and basic living expenses, SEIU Local 99 find the district offer unacceptable. With the amount of money that's being wasted, by the district through paying out legal matters, we find it hard to believe that you don't have the funds to pay us fairly. It is important that you remember that SEIU Local 99 voices hold power. We will continue speaking up and demanding fair and equitable treatment by the district and bringing attention to numerous issues that you continue to ignore year after year. Our concerns should never be dismissed or overlooked. We are tired of being unheard, and we are ready to strongly advocate for what is fair and equitable for Local 99 employees. LACCD Board of Trustees, please hear us. It is time for a positive change for all SEIU Local 99 members working across this district. Thank you. Happy International Day. And thank you, Lexi, for all you've done, and best wishes to you. Thank you.
Thank you. So now we've received the Chancellor's monthly report, which includes activities from the colleges, at the colleges from the college presidents. Do any of the college presidents wish to?
I'm sorry, I'm still online.
Is that- Dr. McKeever, is that you?
Yes, it is.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
Sorry about that.
No problem at all. Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to be there with you, but I've been appointed to the Governor's Career Education Completion and Supports Work Group, and we have our first meeting at 3 p.m. today. Before I begin, I want to thank student trustee Alexi Cordova for her commitment to our students and our campuses. Thank you for your support and your inspirational speech at the March in March. I also want to recognize that May is a busy month with celebrations and recognitions of Asian American, Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islander Heritage Month, Jewish American Heritage Month, and International Holocaust Remembrance Day, Mental Health Awareness Month, National Foster Care Month, National Nurses Week. I want to thank the nurses and our faculty who trained those nurses, and Classified School Employees Week. I will be there to support and recognize our exemplary classified staff on May 21st for their rally in Sacramento. It is also May Day, and I want to emphasize its significance. Originating in the United States, May Day marks the historic struggle of American workers for the 8-hour workday in 1886. Many of the privileges we enjoy in our jobs today are a direct result of unions and worker solidarity. May Day is a celebration of those past struggles and a reminder of the future triumphs we can achieve together. That said, I want to talk about working together or not working together in this case. We had 9 cases moving to arbitration. The district dragged its feet and eventually told our attorney that they were taking the position that 8 of the cases were not subject to arbitration. We filed a motion to compel in Superior Court. Administration's representatives then wrote a brief in which they withdrew their objection to 5 of the 8 cases. Yet they had never contacted our attorney to express this to him or pick arbitrators and schedule hearings. If the trustees and the chancellor want to move forward with the union support, they should be trying to get these cases resolved. Not getting these issues resolved promptly is costly to the district and the union, seemingly reducing our faculty and even our students into pawns in what comes off as political or legal maneuvering. We keep talking about our future budget, but what would our future budget will look like? Let's cut costs here and be more efficient in handling these cases. It is the right thing to do for our faculty, students, and the district. We must spend our valuable time and money and energy on the issues impacting our students' futures. And I just want to say this, I appreciate the conversation the students came forward with student housing. And I do realize also that the district cannot be all things to all people. But when our students do come to us with these issues, taking a holistic approach to this, and maybe helping to educate our students and mobilize our students and send them in the right direction to also get help from the state and local government as well, which is partially they're responsible for concepts like housing and food insecurity, that would be really helpful too. We need to become better advocates for our students as well, and that will help us out as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Matiba. Any of the college presidents like to step forward?
Good afternoon, Board of Trustees. And I also want to extend congratulations to Alexi. You did an awesome job. We can't wait to see what you do in your next chapter. So please keep us posted. I'm also happy to report that last week we gave out over 59,000 in student scholarships to over 111 students. This was in addition to the 49,000 that we gave out in the fall, for a total of 116,000 for our students. So I want to say thank you to our foundation. Yes. To our foundation to continuously raise funds. So with that said, don't forget June 21st is our golf classic. So you could come, so we could continue giving money to our students. And you guys already know what time it is for next Friday, Culinary Cup. So we hope to see you guys all there. And then May, today starts the fast forward of all the celebrations that we're going to be having on campuses, starting with Friday with our transfer student celebration, and then of course culminating with our graduation. And we're in full force in doing our enrollment and registration events. To our classified staff, I know next week is us celebrating you guys. For Harbor College, we have an event on May 29th. Hopefully you guys forgive us not having it during the week. So we'll be celebrating all our classified staff for everything they do, not only for us, but for our students, because yes, we are partners in making sure that our students get the best. And thank you for that.
Good afternoon, members of the board, Board President Henderson, Chancellor Rodriguez. My name is Miguel Dueñas, Vice President, Student Services. I'm here stepping in just for a little bit for Dr. Roman. I wrote a whole dissertation. We said, hey, keep it short, just get to the good points. But, Huskies, we got to do it big. We want to share, we want to share in the celebration of our Asian American, Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islander month. We have had some activities on campus. We have on May 7th, Empowered Voices, a panel event for our AAPI women leaders. Also, AAPI film screening, a Q&A, not my model minority. Opportunities for our campus to really engage with representation of our AAPI community. In addition, we have our Mental Awareness Month. Today, we had a mental awareness fair at the Monterey Park campus, and we will have one on Monday, May 13th at the Southie campus. As we go through the work, we continue with the efforts of our enrollment. We are connecting with our community, providing opportunities for our students to come through our campus, our community members to connect with us, to ensure that we open up and increase access to college. We continue with our Taco Tuesdays. Taco Tuesdays, you all want to come by, have some tacos, come on by on Tuesdays. Our CSSOs, they love those, don't they? And we also have our Saturday, May 18th enrollment event. Again, provide opportunities beyond the work hours for our students and our community members to come through and receive opportunities to register and enroll for classes for the summer and the fall. A wonderful work happening with our first year experience and our recruitment efforts. We are working continuously with our partnering K-12s to have our welcome days where we hosted 1,100 students at East LA College. And now we're taking a show on the road. We're moving on to ensuring that we continue following up with our campuses and providing 10 high schools right now the opportunity for us to bring the work there and provide students an opportunity to register and enroll before they graduate. As we go through this work, we connect with our dual enrollment work that we continue to do with our community. This upcoming month, we're gonna have our enrollment sessions at the sites and on campus, along with the May 18th event, will be open to our high school students to come to East LA College to register for classes, as we have done so. Our Escalante program is expanding. The work that we've been doing for many years is expanding to our Southeast area. And our Southeast area is in need of our support, and we're so honored that our program is expanding there. Southeast, we're looking forward to the expansion of our Southeast campus, our Southgate campus there. The community, I myself am a member of the Southeast community, grew up there, went to Bell High School, and went to East LA College in the Huntington Park site. So I know the impact that this is going to have in our community there. So we do appreciate all the effort that our district is doing and the investment that we are making in our community. And continue with investing with our community is their basic needs. We want to ensure that we continue to support our students and our community members to provide opportunities for them to receive food. We have 2 food distribution sessions at our Monterey Park campus, one at the Southgate campus that will continue in the transition, and that we are serving 800 to 900 students that come through for our services. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, good afternoon, Madam President, Chancellor, Trustees. For the record, Dr. McCorders, Trade Tech. So I have 2 upcoming events I'm going to announce and then one highlight. Upcoming event is the Gold Thimble Fashion Show, May 24th at 7 p.m. It's our signature event for design and media arts. It always has a great turnout. A new upcoming event is our Street Vendor Summit. So on May 22nd, we're going to celebrate the vendor industry. And it's actually going to be in language, so entirely in Spanish, where we're going to bring ideas to potential programs that are looking at developing street vendor courses. Lastly, a highlight from our Garden Scholars program. This past weekend, Trade Tech collaborated with the LA County Department of Children and Family Services. We hosted a celebrated event that had at least 250 participants that provided resources and workshops for our foster youth community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, good afternoon. Our avionics program currently has 19 students enrolled, and we have 47 on the waiting list, so it begins this fall. We're currently working with the Bureau of Real Estate Appraisers to develop the first of its kind practicum program in the nation. This is modeled on our initiative with the LA County Tax Assessor's Office. We're also developing a licensed vocational nursing program through a grant received through Kaiser Permanente. We hope that begins in spring of 2025. And our ADT and social work began this spring. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, President Henderson, Chancellor, Trustees. I'm really excited. I want to congratulate our Professor Kamahaya. He just received a National Science Foundation grant this morning for $648,000 through, and it's called the Illuminas Genomic Discovery for LA. It's genomics and precision medicine. It only exists down in San Diego. And what they're doing is gene sequencing in medicine. And we will be, Pierce will be a hub for the greater Los Angeles area, in this type of technology. This Saturday, so I can barely pronounce those words. This Saturday, we're having our Asian Cultural Festival. We're looking forward to that. I would like to thank the team, LACCD Build, Vice Chancellor Smith, President Henderson, for having been at our groundbreaking ceremony for the Child Development Academic Facility. This last Tuesday, we had a great time. The kids were fabulous. And also, we are having a celebration for our classified professionals tomorrow for lunch. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam President, Chancellor Rodriguez, other members of the Board of Trustees, and Student Trustee Cordova, we're going to miss you. Congratulations. We continue to make sure that everything we can do to support you when you go on your way, don't hesitate to reach out to us. Thank you for all your service. With that being said, I have one thing. In partnership with the board, in partnership with the LACCD Foundation, Southwest College has a gateway program. Any student that attends Los Angeles Southwest College that is in need of housing, please contact these individuals. Jeanette McGee, which is our dean of the program, Rochelle Thomas Green, which is our counselor of that program. If you need food and housing, please make sure you contact them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Trustee Cordova. Congratulations and thank you for everything that you've done representing our college and as our district as a true leader. I also just want to touch on today's students. Just want to say our students matter, their voices matter. So we appreciate hearing their concerns. And as a new college president, LACCD College and representative of the district, we will do everything we can to continue to listen to them and to ensure that we support them and make sure we connect them with the information that sometimes they don't have, but also just be there to listen and support them as humans as they navigate our institutions. Just moving forward to share some good things that are happening on our campuses. I'm excited to have my first graduation at LACCD College as the new president and to really celebrate our students that are transferring, graduating, getting AA degrees. And we've seen 36% increase in transfer for our students, and then also 52% increase in transfer application. So our goals of completion, transfer, and making our students are moving forward is something we're excited about, and we will be able to celebrate them at our June 4th graduation. And then also we have our Dean's Tea that we hold, our Dean's Honor Tea that we hold to celebrate our students who are part of the honor roll and who've been doing successfully well on our campuses. So we'll be able to celebrate them this semester as well. And then last but not least, we're always encouraging our students to explore, to go to universities and transfer to many institutions across the country. But also we have 4 students from our college campus that will be traveling to Zambia this summer, and also 1 student from West LA as part of a cultural excursion that will help them get a transformational experience and get a study abroad experience for about 2 weeks. So we're excited that the students were selected. There'll be 10 students going from the state of California, and those 4 are from our district. So we're excited to have them representing us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. The Chancellor's Monthly had a lot of terrific information. There's just a couple of things I wanted to highlight. One, our baseball team just finished the regular season with the best record in the state. They had an absolutely amazing record, and they start the playoffs on Friday. So it'll be exciting to cheer them on. Today, Florentino was just giving me an update. We had our last senior day with Van Nuys High School. I've talked to you about this the last couple of months. So we've had them with every high school. Today being the last one with over 70 students coming to Valley College. So it's absolutely wonderful to get them actually enrolled in their fall semester classes. So huge change, and appreciate everyone's hard work on that. The last thing to mention, tomorrow is our undocumented quinceañera. It starts at 4 o'clock in our Unity Center. So we hope that you can all join us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Trustee or President Henderson, can I add one quick comment to President Gribbons? I also wanted to note for the record that I had a chance to attend the baseball game. It was the first night baseball game in Valley College's history. And I think it was 21 in a row that they'd won, but it was amazing to watch a home run go out with the lights flickering. That's how great the technology is. It felt like Dodger Stadium in some ways. So, but congratulations to all the team out there and Coach Malice. It was tremendous. But it's a combination of where our new facilities got a chance, and I know thanks to Dr. Smith and his staff, they got a chance, even though the whole project isn't done, they got the baseball part going and right away, and it was just an amazing experience for the young people. They had high school players and future Valley College attendees in the audience too. So that was awesome. It was awesome to watch.
Yeah, thank you. Always have some scouts from MLB teams checking out our players too. Thank you for highlighting that.
Don't go anywhere.
Don't leave. Yeah. Thank you, President Henderson. Dr. Gibbons, I don't know if this was you, but I have a feeling it was your foundation director. And by the way, congratulations on hiring a foundation director. I went to the first ever farmers market at LA Valley College. Every Sunday now they're going to be at the corner of Ethel and
Burbank.
between Ethel and Fulton on Burbank. So thank you. I'm really glad that you're doing that because we either have to go east or west. And anyway, it's perfect for my neighborhood and probably for Trustee Veras' neighborhood. I would really like to see, I think the first day that I was there was a table with some LA Valley College materials, but I'm hoping there will be something there every week because I think it's a really great way to get highlighted in that part of the valley and to attract maybe enrollment either in our credit programs, non-credit or community services, because a lot of people were kind of surrounding that table and it was wonderful to see that. So I just want to thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And just as a note, you approved a contract for that a while back. Thank you so much. That in addition being an amazing connection with our community, it's going to generate revenue for the foundation, and the foundation then will be able to provide more support for our programs at Valley College. So great win-win.
Thanks.
Does anybody else like to make a comment for President Grimmison? All right, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, President Henderson, members of the board, Chancellor Rodriguez. We are still really excited about hosting yet another successful Food and Wine Festival. Thank you for many of you who were able to join us. This year we actually raised over $105,000 and we had over 500 attendees. So we're really excited. Definitely primed us for May 10th Cup, where we're prepared to bring that back home. Couple of things regarding our teams. So we've had a tennis team now, our women's tennis, for 3 years, and for 3 years they've made it to the playoffs in the state championship. So kudos to Joe Cascioni. Our softball team made it to the playoffs as well. They're 13th in the state, and this weekend they are hosting the playoffs for the first time since 2009. So kudos to Coach Chris Highland on his leadership with the softball team. So we're really excited. Hoping to see all of you at the Lavender graduation. Mission College will be hosting May 17th. And we are also continuing with our tradition of our MECHA organization hosting its annual Aslan graduation on May 31st. So thank you.
Thank you very much, President. So now for committee reports. Trustee Eno, please summarize the proceedings of the Legend Public Affairs as well as the API Advisory Committee.
Yes. So I feel like legislative and public affairs, we have the meeting, but then a couple weeks go by and I already have to tell you something different. So I'm not going to stick to the script, but that we went over. But just so you know, the May revised should come out on May 15th. So fingers crossed, it looks better than anticipated. As of right now, it might look a little bit more bumpy than the January proposal, but less scary as the LAO report. Some good news. We last week, Vice President Hernandez led a group of students to the LA Metro Board, and we got the Go Pass permanently set for our students, and the vote was 10-0. So yay, just to see all of our hard work. It went from the federal to the local, and now we have it ongoing for all of our students. So that's great news. Other great news today, as a matter of fact, we went to City Council to get the support of SB 895, which is the ADN to BSN resolution. And the City Council also voted to approve the resolution unanimously. And so now we are continuing the fight to advocate to ensure that we can start building ADN to BSN programs for our nurses. On a statewide advocacy level, there's AB2 2093. We have our efforts have yielded significant results. The LACCD sponsored bill successfully passed. And on April 16th, President Limbaugh testified before the committee, and we got support there, and also the free community college BA degree, which also passed with 9-0 votes. AB 2931. Maria Veloz provided a testimony at the state level for the student peer tutoring bill, and that also unanimously passed. So unique to a lot of the other districts, we were not able to allow our part-time students to be tutors. And thankfully, Senate brought it to our attention, and we were able to advocate for that and get that resolved with the support of our local unions, the classified union as well. So that was great. Also, Ms. Veloz for SB 895 provided support along with 30 other plus organizations. The Senate Education Committee for the bill. The bill was approved with unanimous bipartisan support vote of 7-0, which shows that we need it, and we need to stay collective in our efforts for that. So that's the nutshell of the public affairs and legislative. Yesterday, we did meet with the APITA Plus group, so we've changed the name a little bit to be a little bit more contemporary and up to date with some of the populations that we serve. We met yesterday for a really quick hour with a very jam-packed schedule, but it was a really good meeting. We wanted to have it before API Native Hawaiian Heritage Month to kind of highlight all of the great work that the colleges are doing to support our students. So we opened up actually with having our colleagues and friends from UCLA and Asian American Pacific Islander program to kind of give us an overview on an upcoming free online program textbook that they're building for their department that will be accessible and free for all of our students and faculty and staff to use. And so they gave us a little snippet of what it'll look like, and then really they're going to grow it out for our faculty, staff, and students to just really use and utilize. And it's a $10 million project that they've been working really hard on. So that was really great. In addition to that, we also had, so that was Dr. Karen Umemoto, and Dr. Keith Camacho also spoke about the great work that they're doing to develop the Pacifica studies and Pacifica faculty members at UCLA College. So as we all know, faculty, representation matters, and to see folks that look like you, sound like you, and come from places like you are really makes a difference in your sustainability and success throughout college. And so there's big concerted efforts towards developing that area, as well as UCLA, the transfer CCC program is reviving their summer school program for transfer students. And so I will be getting information on that. But there's a lot of week-long activities designated specifically for different populations. And Native Hawaiian Pacifica students are one of those week-long groups. And so I will get more information on that when it's available, because there's a lot of other groups that they're a part of. You got an update on the API Heritage Month calendar. Thank you to the Chancellor. We were also able to send 8 staff, faculty, and a board member to the APAHI conference, which is the National Conference for Asian Pacific Americans in Higher Education, as well as our students from Harbor College who presented. So that was really great. So we learned a lot, and hopefully we're bringing all that back to you all. We heard from the APAS program from Harbor College, which is really great. Hopefully our concerted effort is also to grow the program to more than just one of our 9 campuses. There was also information regarding our APITA graduation, which will be held on May 18th. So please, please, please send your students, attend. There'll be some great performances, speakers, and food. It's going to be Harbor College again on May 18th. I also did a shout out and a call to action request. When I started here, there was an APITA affinity professional group, not led by administration or a board member, but by the employees themselves. And I'm hoping that we can revive that, because it's the best way to identify the needs and the issues that we face for specifically the APITA population. That's it. So I will hand it back to our board president. I'm done.
Thank you very much, VP Eno. Next up, we will have Trustee Hoffman, if you could please summarize the proceedings of the Budget and Finance Committee meeting, and also any updates from the CCCT.
Great. Thank you, President Henderson. I will be brief. We had a short Budget and Finance Committee meeting where we looked at Board Policy 6200, which has to do with the budget calendar and the budget preparation timeline, as well as the accompanying administrative procedure. And we looked at Board Policy 6250, which has to do with budget management, along with the accompanying administrative procedure, which is 6250 as well. Those will both be on the next board agenda as a first reading. And then we got a presentation on all of our lease agreements and property where we have long-term leases, and found out that a couple of our sites that house charter schools are coming up for renewal. And so there will be a process that they will go through for the next 5-year period. And that was all we did at the Budget Committee. We're anxiously awaiting the governor's May revise, and we will have a thorough presentation on that on May 15th. So at our next committee meeting. So the timing is actually perfect. As far as the CCC is concerned, I, as the president of the trustee board, and Dr. Juliana Barnes, who is the chancellor for the South Orange Community College District, and also the president of the CE board and the league chair board, went on legislative visits to advocate for the budget with Larry Galizio, who's the executive director of the league, Jonathan Lightman, who some of you might know from his days. He's also doing consulting work for the league, and the senior customer relations specialist, Andy Martinez. And we met with members and staff, simply saying that, you know, I think my mic doesn't work. There's your mic. We were okay with the January budget. And so as close as possible, if we could leave it that way, we'd be grateful. And so we were successful in our legislative visits. Oh, sorry. Thank you. We were successful in our legislative visits, and that was last week. We had a triple CT and CEO board meeting in Sacramento, and we do have a student representative on that board. So we have a student trustee that's elected to the triple CT board, and it was really exciting because it was the day that UC Berkeley sent out their acceptance letters. And so as our meeting was adjourning, our student, Nicole Wynn, she's a student at Foothill College, got the letter that she was accepted into Cal Berkeley, and we were able to celebrate with her even before she was able to tell her parents. And that was just such an incredible moment and a wonderful way to end the week and a wonderful way to end our board meeting. This weekend, it's the Triple CT Trustees Annual Conference, and I've done a full year as president. So we are going to elect a new president, and I will go immediately into the president-elect position. I will still have a role, but I won't be nearly as busy. And I just want to thank my board colleagues for their support. It was quite a bit of travel and a lot of information that I was able to bring forward and call upon you when I needed to be in Sacramento. And I really appreciate you, Chancellor, as well, for the support that you've given me. And Dr. Burke, I want to thank you as well. So thank you, everyone. And it's been a busy month.
Thank you so much. Next up, it will be, we'll go with Student Trustee Cordova for your report on your Student Affairs Committee that you hosted on or chaired on April 12th.
Yes, on April 12th, we had some information items for the students, such as DACA awareness. As you know, the elections are coming up and DACA is currently under attack. So we just wanted to let all the students know that to raise awareness on their campus, to remind those to vote, and just just continue to keep DACA on your agenda for any advocacy events that you have coming up. As you heard me mention earlier, the resolution to increase or to give students who are bilingual the opportunity to get an increase in pay for their bilingual work was accepted. at the SSCCC event. And so now we're just waiting to see the next steps in legislation to see if it will be approved by the state. And then hopefully we can get that implemented with our student workers. I also informed the students about the mental health awareness concert that is coming up, I believe, May 10th. And we also came up with an action plan to assure that all required classes or materials and textbooks are covered by EOPS. So you may have heard me mention this at the previous meeting, but there are some required materials by the class departments that are not covered through EOPS. So students who have vouchers are unable to use it for those materials and have to pay out of pocket. And so the action plan that we came up with is just to write a resolution to the board. And so we should have that one by the next meeting. I also informed the students about the Vermont Transit Program. And so very excited to see that fluctuate in the next couple of years and see how many more students will be seen on our campus coming from Santa Monica and other areas. And then we did speak about the Palestine and Israel crisis. And I just basically talked to the students about how the district can best support them through this time. And I think the best means of support that we discussed is just basically keeping the students safe. So if the students wish to speak about this on campus, that they won't get any retaliation from the public. As you know, a lot of our campuses are open to the public. We're the college to the cities. And sometimes our students face safety issues when they advocate on campus when it comes to controversial topics such as this one. And so we just want to make sure that we're working closely with our sheriffs and our safety department, that if our students wish to speak up on this topic, that they're in a safe environment on campus doing so, and that there's nothing coming from the public. Aside from that, we did talk about AB 1705, and I do see that some campuses have set up town hall meetings. So we thank you for getting your students' input on this matter. As for future works, I think a lot of the students said that they're just hoping to see more students on campus for this semester. And that was about it. So thank you.
No, thank you. So I will give the report on institutional effectiveness and student success. The committee met on April 17th. We had no items that we voted on. We had 3 presentations for informational items. The first was a presentation from Chief Silva from Silmar, and students Andres, inside joke for those that were there, students Andres and Maria from the culinary program, who I will say proudly represented the program from LA Mission College. Their Culinary Institute Organic Garden is what they presented on. And I think the committee was pleased to learn that that Mission College will be partnering at some point with LA Pierce College and to promote an urban growing program, gardening program. Very excited about that because we know Pierce has the space and LA Mission has this wonderful culinary program. And Chef Silva from Silmar is, he would like to have students grow a lot of the herbs and greens that they learn how to grow them, but as they learn how to use them in cooking. And I think the highlight of that presentation was delicious food that was prepared for us by the culinary team. And I want to give again shout outs to Chef Silva from Silmar and Maria and Andreas, the 2 students that accompanied him, because they came from quite a distance to support. We then had a student success update and a monthly enrollment update from Vice Chancellor Albo Lopez and Mr. Murray Pearl. And that's how we closed out the meeting, with some great news, with some enrollment upticks at the majority of our colleges, and an overall highlight on overall in declines and upticks, and how Dr. Albo Lopez and her team are working with the colleges to address those, to have some sustainable numbers as we move forward. And that ends my report. And I will now call on Trustee Buelna to share the presentation that he did last week at the National Association of Chicana and Chicano Studies in San Francisco.
Thank you very much. And I want to thank you, President Henderson, for being present and present and there and assisting in the presentation, and our main government affairs everything, Maria Velos. We had an action-packed presentation. I just wanted to say that, make sure everyone's awake here. At the National Association of Chicano Studies, we had representatives from Chicano Studies at Mission College, Chicano Studies at LACCD College. We had about 10 community colleges also present at the presentation. We also had representatives from East Los Angeles College, and I think it was a very good, well, one, the presentation occurred, lots of conversations about folks really not knowing what AB 1096 was, and that really you can almost teach 98, 99% of all community college courses now in the state of California in really any language you want. And we passed out our presentation. We got, after that, we had a lot more conversations that occurred, invited to do more presentations. And that was it. Oh, lots of conversation about the state chancellor's office and not including language as an issue, as a deficit for a lot of our students. That came up quite a bit within the presentation, also from outside, as a lot of folks feeling the state chancellor's office is ignoring about 30% of the students who are having language issues. So that's what came out of it. You know, kind of thinking what the student trustee was talking about in terms of bilingual, monolingual, all kinds of lingualism. Thank you very much, Madam President.
My pleasure. Thank you for representing us so well. So now, colleagues, on to item F2, board travel authorizations. May I have a motion and a second?
Second.
So moved by Trustee Buelna and second by VP Eno. Roll call, please.
Student trustee Cordova's advisory vote?
Yes.
Trustee Buelna?
Yes.
Trustee Henderson?
Yes.
Trustee Hoffman?
Yes.
Trustee Eno?
Yes.
Trustee Vella? Trustee Vettis?
Thank you, colleagues. Now for item G, I think the most important of all of the items today. May I have a motion and a second on item G1, which is an appreciation of student trustee Alexi Cordova.
So moved.
So
Second.
moved by Trustee Hoffman and second by Trustee Buelna. Roll call, please.
Student trustee Cordova's advisory vote? Yes.
Yes.
Trustee Buelna?
Yes.
Trustee Henderson?
Yes.
Trustee Hoffman?
Yes.
Trustee Eno?
Yes.
Trustee Vella? Trustee Vettis?
Thank you so much, Madam Board Secretary. So now I know all of us would like to say some words to student trustee Cordova. So I'm going to start to my right with Trustee Buelna.
Oh, it's been a pleasure. You're my seatmate here. I think I appreciate all of your comments and, you know, and I just the opportunity to learn from you. And I really wish you well in to go get your either your law degree or PhD or whatever you're going to do and hopefully become a billionaire.
Thank you. I think we're probably just gonna continue to add to the long list of how much we appreciate you and your leadership, your advocacy, your willingness to share your experience with all of us, so then we can better be trustees and advocate for all of for everyone else too. So just thank you, and yeah, very excited to support you in any way we can with your future. But thank you so much for your time here.
Thank you.
Next up, Trustee Veras.
First of all, let's just say it's congratulations, because I think you get a chance to take a full year and list a bunch of things that you did and that you were an advocate for. And sometimes, you know, when you do these positions, you know, you're just along for the ride, but that wasn't you. You're an active participant, and that shows leadership. That demonstrates leadership. And so I think to take this experience and the way you are and continue to grow and improve, you'll be able to do that and have an impact and be a voice that's incredible and important in everywhere you go, in whatever career path you decide is ultimately the one that you want. You gave us all a glimpse of what the future is by the words and the way and the approach you had here, and it was awesome. So thank you for that work, and really looking forward to see what you do next.
Thank you. Trustee Bella?
I, really want to tell you how much you remind me of like what the real student experience is. Having spent time with you throughout the year, knowing, you sharing enough, the trust you gave us to let us know your journey as you're moving through the colleges, as you're moving through LACCD. And it just motivates me to be able to be here, even though sometimes it's tough, as you know, to be up here. But you are the person that really motivated me during my presidency, actually, which was a tough presidency due to politics. And it's sad that so much of our time, I would say 80% to 90% is spent over our egos and politics. But you were there and you were like, fair and like, you know what, Trustee Vela, we'll get through this. Thank you for listening to the students. And that's why I think I really treasured your time here as a student trustee. I think you're probably the only student trustee that was able to permeate through my big ego, and remind myself that you are the client, you are the person that we're here to serve. It's not about me. It's not about us. It's about you. So, and thank you for sharing so many of your experiences. You motivated me. You inspire me.
Oh, thank you. It's so beautiful. Trustee Hoffman?
Trustee Cordova, I wish you well in your future endeavors. You have been an exemplary student trustee. I mean, you are just a shining star and a wonderful example of everything that a student trustee should embody. You represented your constituency well, and you didn't hold back when there were issues that you wanted to share with us about what students were going through. I feel very blessed to have been able to not only see you on the board, on the dais here, but to see you interact at the Student Senate, to see you interact with other student trustees. I had the pleasure of serving with you on a panel about what it is to be a student trustee and how to interact with board members when you are the student trustee. You're professional, you handled your role responsibilities with grace. I know you had some really difficult life challenges during the time when you were student trustee, and you did not let that deter you, stop you, or get in the way of your professionalism. And I think we all have something to learn from that. And so I really, really appreciate you. Your leaders in the legislature, because we put you to those legislative visits, and you know how it is and what it is real, the student. So thank you so much. I think we're all going to miss you up here on the dais, and we are all better trustees because we had you to serve with us. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. I really want to say, Alexa, you are phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. It has been, I thought that Kenneth was a firecracker, but you are definitely dynamite, and it's been a pleasure to serve with you and to support you. You have been a true voice for students. And I often say that we are like, dealing with us is like herding cats. And you have been very patient and understanding, and really took the initiative to learn your role and push the needle as far as you can to make sure that we understood what students need, by sharing your own experience. And I don't have any doubt that you'll be incredibly successful as you move forward. You are phenomenal, and I will miss you. Miss you too.
Thank you.
So student trustee Cordova is a demonstration of the board's appreciation, and our college presidents, our administrative team, and all those who have marveled in your excellence, have learned from your example, who have benefited from your service to the voice of students and to the experience of students. We want to express our thanks and appreciation by presenting you with a leadership certificate of appreciation by the Board of Trustees. And so we'd like you to come up front here so that we can present it to you.
Aw.
One last comment, just since none of us said it. Pretty soon, you're technically going to be alumni, and alumni still has a role to advocate and fight for students and fight for the institution. So just know, Trustee Bella was mentioning that when you went to Sacramento with us, it was amazing to have you in those meetings and talking to the members. So I don't hope I'm not presumptuous by saying I think we want to have an open door whenever you want to come up as an alumni, student, and product of this institution. So always feel welcome.
Thank you. And I'm very excited to just continue to work with all the clubs and advocates and the mentors on campus to just keep making our institution a better place. So thank you.
So now, colleagues, on to item G2, may I have a motion and a second?
We did
So
G2.
moved.
We did G2. We did that one
Moved
already.
by VP Eno. Moved by, I'm sorry, second by Hoffman.
Hoffman.
Roll call, please.
Student trustee Cordova's advisory vote?
Yes.
Trustee Buona?
Yes.
Trustee Henderson?
Yes.
Trustee Hoffman? Trustee Eno?
Yes.
Trustee Vella?
Yes.
Trustee Vettis?
Yes.
Student trustee Cordova?
Thank you, Madam Board Secretary. Next, may I have a motion and a second for item G3, celebrating Asian American, Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islander Heritage Month.
So moved.
I'll second.
Thank you. Moved by Eno and second by Hoffman. Roll call, please.
Student trustee Cordova's advisory vote?
Yes.
Trustee Buona?
Yes.
Trustee Henderson?
Yes.
Trustee Hoffman?
Yes.
Trustee Eno?
Yes.
Trustee Villa?
Yes.
Trustee Vettis?
Yes.
Thank you so much. Now, may I have a motion and a second on item G4, commemorating Jewish American Heritage Month and International Holocaust Remembrance Day.
I'll move to approve. Yes.
I'll second.
Thank you. Moved by Hoffman, second by Vella.
Madam Chair, can we make comments before the vote?
Sure.
So first of all, I was really pleasantly surprised to see this resolution on the board agenda, and I didn't request it and I didn't put it here. And so I just have to say, it really means a lot to me. I'm sorry, getting a little bit emotional. This has been a really hard time for everyone. But it's really been a hard time for those of us who are Jewish. And I think it's been a really hard time for our students who in the Los Angeles Community College District may not feel comfortable speaking out or even identifying as Jewish. And so I'm really proud of my colleagues and happy to see that we have this resolution on the board agenda today. And I don't want to get too political, and I'm not going to, but I do want to publicly state that I hope that all of our students feel comfortable on campus. I feel like hopefully we have safe places for our students to go and safe people for our students to talk to if at any time they don't feel comfortable. And I really, again, want to thank my colleagues for introducing this resolution. And I just want to remind you, Chancellor, and President Limbaugh, who I don't think is here today. Oh, you are here. There you are. And Maria Veloz, and I think Mary Gallagher, when she was here, we had, and Trustee Buona, we had the wonderful fortune of being able to go with the Jewish Federation to Israel to get a better understanding about the conflict in the Middle East. And I feel like that's brought a greater understanding in your role as Chancellor, and obviously in your role, Trustee Buona. And I just really want to express how grateful I am that this resolution is on the board agenda, and I don't want it to be a shelf document. So However, we want to make sure that all students feel safe, but that our Jewish students feel safe on our campuses. I would appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other colleagues like to say anything?
I just want to briefly just say that, first of all, war is never the answer for anything. Like, just let's put that aside. And as we move forward, for some weird reason, I was lucky enough to sit, I think I told Trustee Hoffman, in front of the UN Council's human rights staff at a recent conference. And I really wanted to reiterate how important it is as we move forward as humanity, that we remember to continue to support human rights. And what I mean by that is women, LGBT rights, African American, our Jewish American folks, because part of when societies openly discriminate against a class of people, we have to be very conscious of that. And so as we move forward, we really do have to hold accountable ourselves to ensure that there are human rights being respected throughout the world. So to me, this is part of just being a human and having respect. And as we move forward, I want to thank all of the trustees for not only putting this, but ensuring that throughout our time here as trustees, we continue to respect our human rights. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Anyone else? And I want to say also that these resolutions highlight the fact that representation is so very important in our district when we talk about meeting our students' needs, meeting them where they are, providing support. You need to often, in a space, you need to see someone that looks like you, someone that understands your background, because you need to know that they understand you, that they see you. And some things just can't be expressed in words, that you're able to show someone that you understand because you relate on a personal human level. So this was very important to us because we do want to make sure that our students know that we want them to be safe. And if they ever feel unsafe, let us know so that we can make sure that their environment is better. Now on to the next item. May I have a motion and a second on item G5, Mental Health Awareness Month?
Second.
So
Moved
moved.
by Bella, second by Ina. Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
I'm
we voted
sorry.
on, no, we voted
Let's
on
go back.
G4.
Item
No, we voted on it.
G4.
No, we did it.
We have a motion by Hoffman and a second by Bella. Roll call, please.
Student trustee Cordova's advisory vote?
Yes.
Trustee Boulna?
Yes.
Trustee Henderson?
Yes.
Trustee Hoffman? Trustee Eno?
Yes.
Trustee Vella?
Yeah.
Trustee Vettis?
Yes.
Thank you for that. My apologies. And now on to item G5. We have a motion by Bella, second by Eno. Any discussion? Okay, I would like to say that since I came onto the board, one of my goals was for us to, as a district, to address mental health intentionally. And last year, many of you are aware, we held a mental health concert for our students. We highlighted, focused on students that had reached out for mental health services, who identify as housing and food insecure. And they had a primary invitation to attend this concert. It was held at the YouTube Center at SoFi Stadium. It was amazing. I've had students since then just so excited asking for the next one. So we will be having our second annual this year, date to be determined. But I thank my colleagues for being in support of progression and just being intentional about how we provide support and who we provide the support to. We can sit here on this lofty stage and speak publicly, but it's what we do, it's our actions that matter to people. And so I just want to thank my colleagues and thank the students for the trust that they place in us. So Madam Board Secretary, roll call, please.
Student trustee Cordova's advisory vote? Yes. Trustee Boulna,
Yes.
trustee Henderson,
Yes.
trustee Hoffman,
Yes.
trustee Eno,
Yes.
trustee Vella,
Yes.
trustee Vettis.
Yes.
Thank you, colleagues. And now may I have a motion and a second on item G6, National Foster Care Month?
So moved.
Moved by Eno, second by Buelna. Roll call, please.
Student trustee Cordova's advisory vote,
Yes.
trustee Boulna,
Yes.
trustee Henderson,
Yes.
trustee Hoffman, trustee Eno,
Yes.
trustee Vella,
Yes.
trustee Vettis.
Yes.
Thank you, colleagues. Now may I have a motion and a second on item G7, National Nurses Week? That is May 6th through the 12th.
So moved.
Moved by Eno,
Second.
second by Hoffman. Roll call, please.
Student trustee Cordova's advisory vote,
Yes.
trustee Boulna,
Yes.
trustee Henderson,
Yes.
trustee Hoffman, trustee Eno,
Yes.
trustee Vella,
Yes.
trustee Vettis.
Thank you. And now may I have a motion and a second on item G8, Classified School Employees Week, which is May 19th through the 25th.
Move to approve.
Second.
Moved by Hoffman, second by Vella.
Can we have comment on this one?
Discussion? Yes. Go ahead.
So first of all, I love this week. Congratulations. Thank you so much for everything that you do as classified employees. I hope we can have activities and fun things and, please invite us, right? And thank you so much for your service and all of your hard work.
Thank you. Trustee Vella?
Yeah, ditto. I mean, I think we just kind of witnessed how important it is to honor classified, and also how much of a big impact they are to our everyday lives of our students. That our students always comment on that. So it's how you get, strong here to be able to navigate the district because of our classified employees. So thank you. Yeah.
Thank you for that. Trustee Veras?
I have no comments.
Okay. VP Eno?
Just a big thank you. We see you. We appreciate you. Thank you.
Trustee Bowman?
As well, I think classified staff are the glue that keep on moving it.
And Trustee?
Yeah, I think in efforts to advocate for student rights, it goes hand in hand with the actions of, or the rights of the classified employees as well, that either help us, such as faculty or administrative or student members, either or, and you guys help a lot, and you're a part of the reason why we receive our education in the way we do. So thank you.
Thank you. And also, I want to give a heartfelt thank you. I am very directionally challenged, and oftentimes I'm on campuses and just looking lost, and someone will come up and say, even if they don't recognize me, will say, "Can I help you?" And that's the type of customer service that we want to provide. And so I give a definite heartfelt thank you. You have been the reason that I have made many meetings and events on time at the campuses, because you have guided me. So, and thank you just for, in all seriousness, for the work that you do with our students, because others than our faculty, you are our first line to our students. And so we do truly appreciate you. So now we had a motion by Hoffman, a second by Vella. Can we have roll call, please?
Student trustee Cordova's advisory vote,
Yes.
trustee Boulna,
Yes.
trustee Henderson,
Yes.
trustee Hoffman,
Yes.
trustee Eno,
Yes.
trustee Vella,
Yes.
trustee Vettis.
Yes.
Thank you, colleagues. And may I have a motion and a second on item G9, reaffirming the LACCD's commitment to the Action Collaborative on Preventing Sexual Harassment in Higher Ed?
So moved.
Moved by Eno.
Second.
Henderson.
Okay.
Roll call, please. Was there any
Student-
discussion? Colleagues? No? All right, roll call, please.
Student trustee Cordova's advisory vote,
Yes.
trustee Boulna,
Yes.
trustee Henderson,
Yes.
trustee Hoffman, trustee Eno,
Yes.
trustee Vella,
Yes.
trustee Vettis.
Yes.
Thank you so much. And thank you, colleagues, for that, because I personally have a zero tolerance policy on a lot of things, but due to personal experience, I have a zero tolerance policy for sexual harassment. And I'm glad that we are moving forward really intentionally to address it and to stop it. And I hope that all of the folks that have been pushing the issue are going to be prepared to deal with the outcome when we really move policy forward to truly address sexual harassment in this district. So next up, we
Pres-
have, I'm
President,
sorry.
a quick question, President. Is there, I know we had a presentation months back
Mhm.
about training. Can we get on our agenda soon an update in terms of our training and implementation?
I have one today.
Okay. Yeah, on the agenda today?
Yes, part of my chancellor's report.
Okay, all right, thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you for that, Chancellor.
That's
So-
quick action there.
So now, we'll have, item H1, our Chancellor's report. Chancellor?
Yes, thank you, Madam President, members of the board, colleagues. Before I move on to the presentation where I've got 3 items on the Chancellor's report, I wanted to thank the board for their foresight, their courage, and their continued support to recognize the many communities, causes, people that are reflected and professionals that are reflected within the resolutions. Those look like perfunctory activities, but we actually take some time to bring those together, to write those up on behalf of the Board of Trustees, because it espouses our interests, our values, who we are and who we aspire to be. So again, members of the board, thank you for putting that on record, what we stand for. I've got 3 areas to cover this afternoon. I'll just say a few remarks about what's contained in the Chancellor's monthly report. And then to the point that was raised earlier, we will have an update. This is a quarterly update to the board on activities associated with our Office of Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Accessibility. And then we'll do a very well-deserved recognition to one of our family members who is indeed retiring at the end of this academic year. So on to the monthly report, as was stated earlier, and through the resolution that we had here at the board, there's lots of activities occurring within our API, Desi American, Pacific Islander, and Hawaiians community throughout the district. Some of them are highlighted in the report. Our student body is about 14-15%, and many members of our faculty and staff also identify with this particular community. So throughout the district, at the colleges, that we are having films and lectures, opportunities, dialogues, really to highlight, support, affirm, and elevate the Asian Pacific Islander experience and Desi American experience. So I look to your colleges throughout the month. And again, I thank Trustee and Vice President Eno for her leadership on the Chancellor's Advisory Committee for keeping these issues front and center as we move forward, again, to elevate, uplift, and support the various members of the API community, as well as those who support them, the allies throughout our district. So again, just highlighting that and bringing some light to this subject. Thank you to the colleges for promoting that. A little bit about our enrollments. Green means good. This is a couple of weeks back or from April 17th, so it is a little dated, but I wanted to remind everyone that we have regular dashboards that are active at LACCD that you click on it, it'll give you real-time information from the day before as to how enrollments are doing, how our head count is, et cetera. I'll just highlight a couple of things on this particular page to note again that our enrollments are up, and in particular over 35 and over 55 years of age. We do have enrollments that are going up, and that's I think is indicated through our strong adult education programs that are going on and the high number of individuals who are coming back to upskill, reskill, and to be better prepared for the changing workforce. Also wanted to note that we have our first-time students are up, which is good for our College Promise programs, as well as our concurrent enrollment. We're just under 20,000 students who are duly enrolled at LACCD colleges. And then also to look at our non-credit population. That's a new graphic that was introduced recently, and you can see the head count and the number of students who are continuously enrolling. We're up 20% in head count and 17% in enrollment versus last year of students in the non-credit area. So congratulations again to our colleges who are doing excellent work in this area. The next area is already been highlighted. We look forward to seeing folks a week from Friday, hosted at LA Harbor College, and to see the excellence of our culinary schools in place. This year's theme is New Orleans. So if you're interested in that type of food, we invite you to come on out and to see the real, again, the expertise of our students under the tutelage of just outstanding faculty at each of our culinary schools. Again, we invite you to come out next week for their annual Culinary Cup at LA Harbor College. Moving forth to the next area, this is an opportunity for this month for the district to continue to celebrate the many communities that make up LACCD. This is in addition to, it complements the annual commencement exercises that we have. So we invite you to come out on May 17th to LA Mission College for our Lavender graduation, on Saturday, May 18th, the following day to LA Harbor for our Asian Pacifica. Is the American Graduate Celebration. On the following week to LA Southwest College for a Black Graduate Celebration on the 23rd, and then at the Mi Gente graduation celebration this June 1st at East LA College. Again, everyone is invited, and another way to celebrate the rich cultural, historical, and linguistic tapestry that is LACCD. So we invite everyone out to come out. Thank you to the colleges who are hosting us. It is a district-wide event. Each of the sites, we're looking forward to the culmination of our academic pursuits and efforts and support for our students. 8 of our colleges will have their commencement exercises on June the 4th, and then on June the 6th, LA Pierce College will have their celebration. So again, thanks to our faculty, our professional staff, our leaders, our administrators who really come together to make sure that all this occurs. And really, this is the culminating experience for the academic year, an in-person graduation celebration. So congratulations, and thank you for all the dedication of our folks. Before I move on to the second part of the report, are there any questions that I can answer, members of the board, what I've shared? Okay, we'll move on. Let me ask Natalie Mason-Kinsey to come on up, and she will give us the ODIA update. If you recall, the board, we gave an update to you all about 4 months ago. So we committed to come back to return to provide a quarterly update on a whole variety of activities that are going on within the Office of Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Accessibility. So I will ask our colleagues, Vice Chancellor Tiana Williams of Human Resources, and our Director of ODIA, Natalie Mason-Kinsey, to have the floor now, and welcome.
I'm exclusively moral support here. Ms. Mason-Kinsey will handle this. Here for any questions.
So thank you. This report was prepared with a lot of the feedback that we discussed in December. Again, I will be here. You'll see me furiously writing notes if there are other things that the board would like to see going forward. We want to make sure that these quarterly reports are informative and timely, because part of what I've heard both from the board and from others in the district is that there's been a real lack of communication from my area. And so this is my attempt to address that. Quick reminder about the mission for ODIA. We ensure compliance both with federal and state laws. We're going to talk about some of those changes that are coming up shortly. We work with all of human resources. So admissions, recruitment, education programs and activities, facilities and course offerings are all parts that we need to make sure are being distributed and participated in equitably, and that we are not putting up barriers as a district to everybody being able to access our programs and activities. The next slide is going to be very important going forward. These are all of the policies and some of the administrative regulations that are going to need to be revisited during right now. Some of these obviously deal with Title IX and sexual harassment specifically. Those are going to need to come to the board on the July board meeting for your all's vote, because we need to incorporate all the changes that came down from the federal government. And also we've been working with Maria Veloz and our other partners in General Counsel's office on some of the other legislation locally, so that we're making sure that we are fully compliant, not just compliant with one piece and coming back piecemeal. So you will start to see these coming forward in July. And as a precursor to that, we have a plan that we're going to put forward to the Chancellor with a calendar of action items and events so that you can keep track going forward of where we are. Part of what is going on with Title IX, it was released on Friday the 14th at 2 a.m. our time. It's been a challenge because the implementation date for all of it, not part of it, all of it, is August 1st. And so that's why the July board meeting is going to be very important going forward. Now to the bulk of my report, we're going to talk about complaint statistics in our district. Part of what I heard from you all is that you wanted to see more information about the complaints that are coming in and out. Want to make sure that you understand this is only first quarter. So first quarter, January 1 through March 31, 2023 versus 2024. So to try to give some of that historical data, and I'm hoping Trustee Veras comes back soon because this was one of his questions. He wanted to be able to see over time what was going on. And so as we go forward, what you will get is not just a data dump at the end of the year. You will be able to compare quarter to quarter and we'll be able to track trends that way. The next slide breaks down the types of complaints that you all wanted to see. Yes, we have discrimination and harassment and retaliation complaints lumped together, only because that's the way our policies currently are. If the board decides to change some of the policies, these will, as we go forward, be broken out by policy. That is my goal, so that you will see policy violations or allegations of policy violations of, for example, BP 3410, BP 3420, AP 3420, et cetera. The next slide talks about who's filing our complaints. That was another question that came up during our conversation. As you can see, the majority of our complaints are anonymous, both from students and from faculty and staff. That's just the nature of the business. That's what we have. I think for me, it's very important that we always have the ability for folks to file anonymously. I think that it would be a very chilling effect if that was something that we were to change or take away. The next slide, please. This is also something we talked about, wanting to see not just as a district, but where we are campus by campus in terms of complaints that we're receiving. So again, this is only for the first quarter, January to March for 2023 versus 2024, so that you can see the number of complaints per campus. Now, I will say this before you start asking questions about the numbers. I need you all to remember these are complaints, not incidents. So that, for example, if one of my folks in student affairs reports the incident as the VP of student affairs, for example, and the student reports that was either a complainant or a respondent, those aren't separated out. That would be in this count. So even though it's one complaint or the same issue, it's multiple complaints. So I want to be clear about that is the data that's here now. The next slide also addresses some of our concerns about training. We had a very long, robust conversation about training. Here is where we are. First quarter 2023 versus first quarter 2024. We were not doing a lot of training first quarter 2023. And so going forward, you will be able to see some better comparators and some better data, especially in-person training we were not prepared to do because we had some staffing concerns that we'll talk about in later slides. So these numbers, I think, will look a lot better as we go forward, but this is where we are right now just for first quarter. Also coming to the board at that July meeting will be a calendar of trainings for the rest of 2024 going into 2025, because that is also a part of my commitment to you to show you where we're going. Part of that is saying, here's where we're having in-person trainings. Here is where we're going to be with online training offerings. And also I want to say thank you because at your last board meeting or the meeting before, you approved the Vector contract. The Vector is the online training that is housed in the VRC. And that suite of trainings includes the training for sexual harassment, which will be updated with the new Title IX regulations going forward. And those will be ready to launch for the fall. I just talked to them this morning for our students. And then following the student launch, we're going to roll it out for our employees as well. But part of the reason why students came first is because working with our colleagues in EPI, we're on a timeline and we wanted to be able to capture those students as part of their onboarding checklist so that as we go forward, that checklist is updated right now. And so that when students get that, here are the things you need to do in order to register and come join us in the fall. One of those items will be taking that Title IX training in Vector.
And let me just add, we're gonna prioritize in person for the next year or two as the Title IX regs are updated, as well as since we were in a pandemic and online was the focus. It's always good practice to have in person after several years of online offerings. So we're going to focus on in person for the next couple of years.
And speaking of online and hybrid trainings, the next slide talks about specifically online training. So this is the training data for only online, and this comes directly out of Vector Solutions. What we expect to see once we update the trainings will be that this number will go up as well. But again, as Vice Chancellor Williams pointed out, we will be prioritizing in-person trainings for the next fiscal year. And the next slide. Thank you again. Thank you very much to my colleagues in the Personnel Commission. This is our staffing, because there were questions about the number of staff and how they're trained and what their titles are and what their roles are, because there was a lot of turnover and change. This is where we are currently versus where we were in 2023. I hope this is more clear, but if not, please let me know and we can have that conversation, and or I can provide additional information. But all of us now in the office, in the ODIA office, with the exception of the administrative assistant, and you have one holdover from the prior administration, if you will. Ms. Victoria Friedman is our policy person in the office, and she and I will be working very closely and very, hopefully, rapidly and expeditiously in getting our new policies revised. So the next slide. Thank you to all of my presidents and their admins. These are now the investigative assignments for all of those numbers of people who now work in ODIA. So that part of what we heard from our campus partners was that they had a hard time connecting and finding a body, a person, a something if there was an emergency or an issue that needed to be addressed right away. The presidents have been very helpful in us identifying space on their campuses. So these folks are not floaters. They all have a space to be at. And each person is at their campus one day a week, each campus, because each person has two, if you notice. And then they're here in the district office one day a week. And so part of this process is to hopefully get us again to a place where we are more responsive. We can be more proactive instead of reactive. And it will also help us when we get to those in-person trainings, because now it won't be just on the district office, so to speak. These are folks who are going to help coordinate those on-campus trainings. All the trainings will not be online anymore, and they also all won't need to be here at the district office. And the next slide. So talked about this as we went through. There is a lot of conversation happening in the background, even though we have not involved the board just yet. Don't think we're leaving you out. We'll tag team you, but we need time to make sure that we can go through all of our policies along with the regs. The regs themselves, if you're interested, they're all public. They're just about 60 pages long. If you're an insomniac like me, the preamble is what is 1,577 pages long. But I will tell you, there are maybe 20 to 25 places where the district, you all, are going to have to make some choices and decisions about which way the district is going to go. I will say a lot of those questions that are going to be asked are where the new regulations are changing from shall to may, which means you all get to decide. The other thing I will point out, and I'll keep saying it over and over again, this is not like the 2020 regs where we sunsetted 2018. The 2020 regs will be kept in perpetuity concurrently with the 2024 regs. So let me say that again. In 2020, when some of you were here and you did this, you sunsetted the old regulations. Nobody ever used them again. That is not the case this time. So for example, if somebody comes and has a complaint and the incident itself took place before August 1, 2024, we will be using the 2020 regs. Anything that takes place incident-wise after August 1st, 2024, we'll use the new regs. That goes in perpetuity. So I just want you to know that up front. We'll have more conversations about it, but those to me are kind of the high level things that I'll be targeting, and I'll give you a crosswalk probably and hopefully in May, if not May, definitely by June, so that you can see the old reg language and then the highlighted new reg language so that you'll know where your decisions are going to need to be made.
And we're trying to schedule when we're going to be able to have a session with you all to crosswalk all the new regulations and where we need study session. That's what it's called. Study session with the board to highlight and give you all the information you need to make decisions about how we update our board policies and regulations. And this is all before we know what the 12 bills have in them that have been proposed by the California State Legislature and how those interact with the regulations from the Biden administration at the federal level. So we'll continue to monitor those, but we're focusing the study session on federal compliance with their August 1, 24 deadline to comply. And I think that's all you've
And
got.
that's all I have. Are there any questions?
Well, thank you. I'm going to start down this end. Student trustee Cordova, do you have any questions or comments regarding the presentation?
None at this moment. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ina?
I think just thank you for tackling this and creating paths and pipelines. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Veras?
Yes, and I guess for the record, and I apologize, I had a quick restroom trip before some of this. In terms of the training process, I think it was really great for us to have a session with administrators and the trustees as soon as possible. Can we say that essentially the leadership at LACCD has received training completely?
Yes, but you will have to have it again under the new regs, so don't worry.
Okay.
No, your new training is coming.
Okay. So everybody's trained at the presidency level, at the executive office level, at the trustee level.
Correct.
Correct. They've had 2 sets of training. They have standard Title IX and sexual harassment training, and then also decision maker training, because they have a role under the policy for making decisions. And we've made that a group effort amongst the presidents as opposed to solo presidents being decision makers for their own college.
Okay, good. Now, in terms of implementing the training across the board, what's timetables that we expect, and then how do we? I'm going to go back to the sort of window of experience we had with like vaccinations, for example, which was to get to the end of that was challenging. But when can we get to the point where we can just say we've implemented training across the board, vertical and horizontal?
So here's what you're going to see at your study session. You will get a calendar, because right now I'm working with our vendor Atixa to put together a training calendar for the year. That calendar includes training for students, faculty, administrators, board members, presidents, et cetera. Because part of the new Title IX regs, as well as a 100% training for everybody, top to bottom and sideways. So we will be reaching out to constituents as we go through that process to grab them where we can. So some folks already have this training every year. It's the DHR/Title IX training. So kind of that secondary-ish training that we had when we had Joe come from Atixa for you all for the board. There's something very similar to that normally happens. So for starters, what we're going to do is add the new Title IX reg training and policy training, whatever our new policy numbers happen to be, whether they're the same or different. That will all be rolled into that training so that, for example, I can tell you right now, I believe August and September, we've got some of our student athletes because they're going into the fall, our coaching staff. And then after that, we've got some of our, I'm gonna mess this up, I think it's our culinary schools, but we're doing them in chunks like that. And then there's deans and directors training that happens, and then there's other groups. And so you'll see that in the calendar that when you have your study session.
Okay. And then I know this is one of the questions I asked, and I'm probably asking a different format than when Joe had the training. As we now are fully trained and complaints come forward, and if complaints are substantiated, complaints are not substantiated, frankly, some could be accusational and without basis, but there may be I'm hoping there's not a misunderstanding of what the law is and what protections that people have. That's why I think training is very, very important, because you can certainly blatantly say it across the board. And there's a lot of gray spaces that supervisors get trained on. That's hard. But how do instances of when complaints are substantiated or not substantiated get sort of publicly released or disclosed? Because in some senses, it could be a personnel record, and in some senses, when it's not substantiated,
So if
there could be reputational harm.
Are you
for example.
asking on a case by case basis? Because there's at no time These cases are confidential. There's no public records release of information regarding a case.
Okay.
What may happen is if that case goes to litigation and there is a document request or there is something like that that we have to respond to, that's different. But if you're talking about regular course of business for your, I'm going to call it average, even though none of them are average, complaint that comes through ODIA, those records are never released publicly.
Okay.
They remain confidential in perpetuity unless there is, I'm going to say, it usually is a court order or a judicial reason to have them released. And in that case, they're not released publicly. They're either released directly to the requester, who may in fact normally be, it's a law firm or a judge or a clerk of the court. But typically, if someone filed a complaint in my office, there would be no reason for me to ever release any information about that complaint other than an aggregate in what you saw here in terms of numbers counting, who filed it, were they a student versus employee, was it an employee versus employee, that kind of thing. That's the only data that we would release, and it's only an aggregate.
Right. There can't be personally identifiable information released in a number of areas. This is one of those areas.
Okay. So now in the cases where things have been released publicly and there's comments virtually every meeting, whether they're true or false or made up or fictitious or whatever, what is the district's responsibility in clarifying? What is the
So here's-
individual responsibility?
Here's my
clarifying?
responsibility. I do not respond because I cannot.
Okay.
Even if I hear that the record that's being stated is false or is incorrect, I cannot. It's a part of it's a function of my job. I don't know any circumstance where I would be able to stand up and say, for example, that's not true. That case was about such and I don't know any case that would happen.
Does that even cover slander and defamation? Or does it have to come forward in a?
I will defer to
complaint or
my
litigation?
I will defer to my counsel.
Yeah.
And she stepped away, but I
Yeah,
think that's
so-
a question for our general
yes,
counsel.
defamation is a lawsuit in and of its own. We don't accept defamation complaints through ODIA in any way, shape, or form. So we would never opine on that, and just
We do have professional
As a-
responsibility, though.
yeah, as a legal thing, a defamation is also a tort. So there would have to be a negligence standard there. And so,
But on the
you know, that-
professional responsibility side, what's,
professional responsibility side is different, but also not handled through ODIA. There's Title IX regs have always been clear to give people the space to complain. But they also have several avenues. They have the state, they have the federal government, they have the Department of Ed to file, and we're all held to the same standard. No one can release information and can defend the character of folks. In fact, that's probably one of the other really big changes from 2018 to 2020 was a desire of the Trump administration to protect respondents or people accused of things they did not do. And what's going on in the Title IX regulations now is a little bit of a pulling back of protecting respondents from a lot of respondents' perspectives. So there's always been this push and pull over how much a person accused of Title IX sexual harassment can defend themselves, and the extent of how they can defend themselves highlighted in the regulations. So as we dive into them, that's really one of the cruxes of what's happening here. So you saw live hearings come in place. You saw the Trump administration's effort to give people accused of things more say in the process. And so what we're seeing now is a little bit different. As she said, the biggest thing you could take away is it went from shall to may. So do we as a body pull back on the rights of the accused, or do we find some kind of a balance in our regulations to protect both sides, the right to complain and the right to defend oneself?
all right, thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Vella?
Yeah, just, really thank you and, appreciate the update. And I know you have a lot on your plate. So, this is really helpful for me. And then also obviously to prioritize, I saw you're getting a fourth investigator
Correct.
Okay, so.
That
you know,
person will start on May 4th
I'm
and they
sure
will,
the chancellor can help on that.
yeah, and they will be assigned to Trade Tech and to
Okay.
Southwest College. So then every campus, then all 9 campuses and the ESC will be covered in terms of having a person other than me to help them respond and navigate.
It starts the 6th, Monday.
All right.
May the
does?
4th.
No, she starts May 20th.
Oh,
She doesn't,
20th.
May
Okay.
20th. May
20th.
20th is her start date.
Sorry.
Sorry, she needed
I
more
knew it
time
wasn't
to
the
leave.
4th.
Yeah, leave her
All right.
current position.
Thank you so much for all your work. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Hoffman?
Thank you. Which employees or what category of employees are mandated to take sexual harassment training?
Under the new regs, all,
Everybody.
everyone,
That-
there is no exception.
Yeah, that changed a couple of years ago anyway in California. So the federal regulations are kind of just catching up there. It used to be supervisors every 2 years, 1 hour, and non-supervisors, 1 hour, supervisors 2 hours, but California has moved to everyone every 2 years.
Okay, so I do want to say, first of all, I appreciated the comments by Bruce Hicks earlier today with SEIU 721. And month after month, we do hear from Miss Ozanne with SEIU 99. I would like to see those 2 groups prioritized for training in some way. And I also want to be mindful that lots of our employees don't, I know you said you're going to try to do it in person, so you're going to have to be really strict about that because a lot of our employees don't have access to a computer or the internet. But I do think that if there's a way to, I don't know how you're doing it, if you're doing it by campus, if you're doing it by employee group, it's great.
Both
We should-
and. It's both and.
Okay,
There
we
are
should
each
start with our
campus and-
administrators, and I get that, but administrators probably have had lots of training, hopefully, in the past, if they've been here a while. But I do think that we need to start to prioritize, because if we're listening to what we're hearing, those groups really do need some training and understanding, especially if we have new regs. So I would just like to make that request on behalf of both SEIU 99 and 721. And if there's something we need to do for time off, and I don't know what our collective bargaining agreements say, or extra compensation or some kind of an incentive, I mean, it's important that they get the training they need.
Understood.
Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Bowman, did you have any questions or comments regarding presentation? I want to say thank you very, very much. You have done tremendous work just in the short period of time since the initial presentation. And I really appreciate your diligence and understanding that we're sort of at a critical point now, considering past issues and working to prevent future issues. So thank you very, 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 very much for your work.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Madam President, the third part of the Chancellor's report is a celebratory one. It's one in which we recognize someone who has served our district dutifully for so many years as the Vice President of Student Services at Los Angeles Valley College. So I'd like to ask President Gribbons come up, our colleagues who are Vice Presidents of Student Services at our district to come up so we can recognize Florentino Tino Manzano. So Tino, come on up. We're going to recognize you at this moment.
We call him the Godfather, just so you know.
So, Tino, on the occasion of your upcoming retirement, we invite you to say a few words, please.
I don't think you want me to. Yeah, now, muchas gracias. That's from the heart. 25 years at LA Valley College, only at LA Valley College, working for the LACCD as an associate dean, a dean, and now ending 15 years as a VP of Student Services, all in the name of students. And I think we all do that. And I want to encourage you to continue. I worked at CSUN for 12 years. Yes. And when I first got to Valley, I said, oh man, what did I do? Right? Because CSUN was destroyed by the earthquake. They had rebuilt, brand new office, window, desk, everything. And I come to Valley College and it was a windowless with some type of soundproofing in the room. And I said, oh my goodness. And that's the best decision that I have ever made, because now I'm helping the most needy. And through my time, lots of students that have gone on to do great things. And that's what it's all about. So thank you. Thank you. To my friends, now my colleagues, muchas gracias.
Clearly Florentino's had an amazing impact at Valley College and created an amazing culture within student services of service. As his comments, he actually lived every day and brought tremendous passion to the area. But I would argue too, his impact goes way beyond Valley College, as he's been a great colleague for everyone in LACCD. Obviously, we're going to miss him tremendously, miss his passion, his dedication. He's clearly irreplaceable. And it's in many ways sad that we're losing him after the incredible amount of service. The other two things I want to say is, the very first thing I was told about Florentino was, in fact, that he is the godfather. When I met him, I was looking for the ring to kiss. And I'm not kidding about his singing ability. If you haven't attended one of our graduations, he actually does in front of the entire stadium sing, and hopefully at one point you'll be able to hear him again soon. Thank you. Little ditty.
Chancellor, I just want to say thank you for providing us this opportunity, this space to honor Florentino, the Godfather Manzano. As a kind of point of privilege, I just want to say that I really have appreciated your honesty, your professionalism, your guidance and mentorship, and this just dedication to making the right decisions for our students, even when it's not popular. Okay, it's not politically motivated. It's always been from the heart. It's always been for students. And that's something that has helped ground me and the work that I do. And so on behalf of the Chief Student Services Officer Council, we present you with this certificate of just recognition for all your hard work. And I just stay in touch. I'm definitely going to call you and ask for more guidance. And we really appreciate all your service. And that's how it's, see, honesty, that's how it starts. So thank you, Tino, for all your service, and here's
Do it after this.
Yeah.
yeah. Squeeze this a little bit more.
All right. 1, 2, and 3. Okay. One more. 2, 3. All right. Thank you.
All right. So I just wanted to acknowledge that Florentino was my first boss and first supervisor at Cal State Northridge in 1990. I don't, because I was, so Florentino, I was trying to remember what program. It was the college readiness program out of McCabe Middle School in Pacoima. Okay, in Pacoima. So I forget what I was doing, but I'm like, well, look, I had a job. I get to work in the San Fernando Valley. Just Tino hired hundreds of us, you know, and gave us job, gave us money in our pocket, was very strict with us, along with a lot of folks in that office. So thank you, Florentino.
So Florentino, I don't know if we thank you or curse you for him. I don't know. I think we're not sure just yet. Colleagues, anybody else? Go ahead.
So first of all, I got to know you kind of because of my role at Glendale College also. You always gave me those special students. I'm like, what? Keep talking about Florentino. Anyway, and then I saw your passion and how amazing you are in your role as VP of Student Services at LA Valley College and how you deeply care for the programs that you oversee, but especially the students. And I have heard you sing, so I'm one of the lucky ones. Thank you. Thank you for your service. Enjoy retirement. Like, do not come back and be a consultant. Go do something fun. I don't know why you'd want to come back.
Florentino, I just want to thank you. I really, you know, got to give it to you, especially when it came to El Día de Reconocimiento at Valley College, how, and I don't know if you guys have been to that ceremony. I know Trustee Hoffman and I went a couple, but the students really, I mean, I've never seen the students stand up and like recognize you, thank you. Some were crying with their parents about how you changed their life. And as trustees, I know we always pay attention to that stuff. And so I really want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, how you have impacted, in particular, the Latino Mexicano community. And I have to tell you, I was fresh off always fighting for LGBT. But when I got there, I think I had my guayabera. And I was like, wait a minute, I'm Chicano. I'm proud too. I'm not just LGBT. Like, and you made me feel that way. And so, you know, you impact a lot of students, man. So congrats, and you know, have a great retirement. You deserve it. You deserve it.
I need to add one more thing. So at that event, and it was you who gave me the advice, you know, I got invited to this event. I'm rushing around. I'm at work. I get there and I looked at David and I was like, he's like, can you speak? And you need to speak. I'm like, oh, okay. What am I going to say? He's like, don't worry about it. After Florentino speaks, just like, you know, you'll get a sense for what this event is all about and you can make your comments. And your speech, which I'm sure was like beautiful, was 100% in Spanish, and I don't speak Spanish.
It was. It was.
So that was a funny moment. Again, thank you, because the parents, the students, everyone loved.
Florentino, come back. Florentino,
Back there.
Florentino, come back.
I'll
You
say
have
this.
more comments.
I'll say this as much to
So,
I'm standing in the middle. We're still praising you.
yeah, accept this glorious praise.
I wanted to thank you. You know, I think one of the first graduations I ever did as a trustee, I got there, I had no idea what I'm supposed to do as a trustee. And everybody just said, just ask Tino. He knows how to do it. And, and your presence, it takes a very special person to create a legacy in two different substantial places. You did it at CSUN, and you did it at Valley College. And absolutely impressive, absolutely important, to have the comfort of the students and the staff to just say, Tino, Tino, Tino. It's what you heard, it's what you saw. That comes from the way that you carried yourself and the way you communicated and the way you embraced. Very warm place, warm feeling from the day I was there for graduation to every day on the campus. That presence you had was tremendous. And I hope this is the first time actually I'm seeing it in like a decade. All the other VPs stand up when somebody retires. That's a big mark. And I hope all of them take a little bit of you with them in the jobs they do at their schools. And so I want to thank you for that. Clearly you were a guide, you were a resource, you were a godfather. You not just didn't make Valley better, you made this entire district better. So by that attitude and that approach. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Tino, I just want to say, I will forever remember your smile and the passion that you have for what you do and for students just resonates. As soon as you walk in the room, you see it. And, you speak and it's you can feel it. Your love for your work exudes from you. So I wish you the best. I wish we had a little more time with you, but thank you so much for what you've done for this district. You've, you set the bar.
Thank you.
Students.
I really appreciate it. It's incredible, right? I always tell my story because I came to the United States when I was 14 years old. Actually, I was brought to the United States when I was 14 years old, and I didn't want to come. But my mom, my dad, and my sisters and my brothers were here, and I had to reunite with them. Oh, that was the idea, to reunite. My dad was probably one of the first dreamers as a bracero and working in the Oxnard area, picking lemons and flowers. And I'm actually an expressor, so I'm gonna cry. My mom said, "You're going to school. Regardless of who we are, as farm workers, we're gonna support you." And look at them; they have a VP. So, thank you.
That is a true testament. That is a true testament to what LACCD is about. And who we should forever strive to be as a collective. So thank you for that, President Ribbons and Valley College. So now on to item I, our combined consent calendar. We now have for review items J1 through B7. These items include consent calendars for human resources, academic affairs, and student services, budget and finance, business, and facilities. Chancellor?
Yes, thank you. Members of the board, I need to add an item to pull, and then I need to edit a comment that I made earlier about another item down the road. So if you could note that on this consent calendar, if you could pull item J2, human resources J2, please pull that item for your consideration. All the rest are presented, and we would like you to review those. And then earlier in the agenda, I pointed out to item X2. Actually, it's item Y2, not X2. My apologies. I was looking at an older agenda, and it's item Y2 to add the name Dr. Regina Smith to that item. Everything else stands. So please pull item J2 and amend item Y2. The Y3, my goodness. My goodness. Okay. Amend item Y3, pull J2 for this current consent. Thank you.
Thank you, Chancellor. So now, may I have a motion and a second to adopt a combined consent calendar for items J1 through V7, with the exception of item J2?
So moved.
Moved by VP Eno. I will second Henderson. Is there any discussion, any items?
Question. Is there any reason why we pulled J2? Chancellor?
There are some technical errors. We need to clean those up.
Any other questions, concerns, need an item? All right, roll call, please.
Student trustee Cordova's advisory vote?
Yes.
Trustee Boulna? Trustee Henderson?
Yes.
Trustee Hoffman?
Yes.
Trustee Eno?
Yes.
Trustee Vella? Consent calendar?
Yes.
Thank you. Trustee Vettis?
Thank you, Madam Board Secretary. Now, may I have a motion and a second to adopt business items W1 through W6?
So moved.
Moved by Eno. Is there a second? Henderson, seconds. Roll call, please.
Student trustee Cordova's advisory vote?
Yes.
Trustee Boulna?
Yes.
Trustee Henderson?
Yes.
Trustee Hoffman?
Yes.
Trustee Eno?
Yes.
Trustee Vella? Trustee Vettis?
Yes.
Thank you, colleagues. Now, may I have a motion and a second to adopt facilities items X1 through X7?
I motion.
Is that Cordova? Thank you, trustee Cordova. Moved by Cordova and second by Vella. Roll call, please.
Student trustee Cordova's advisory vote?
Yes.
Trustee Boulna?
Yes.
Trustee Henderson?
Yes.
Trustee Hoffman? Trustee Eno?
Yes.
Trustee Vella? Trustee Vettis?
Thank you, colleagues. Now for item Y. Before we proceed to vote on the next three action items in regards to employment action for extension of contracts and step increases for interim deputy chancellor, college presidents, I will read the following language for the record. Pursuant to Government Code Section 54953C3, which is part of the Brown Act, we are required to make an oral summary of proposed actions on the salaries, salary schedules, or compensation paid in the form of fringe benefits for all executive level positions as defined in subdivision D of Government Code Section 3511.1 during the open meeting in which final action is to be taken. In our case, we need to provide such summary for positions such as chancellor, the vice chancellors, and the college presidents. The employment action now before us is to approve the extension of contract of employment for Dr. Kathleen Burke, interim deputy chancellor from June 30, 2024 to September 30, 2024. Dr. Burke's salary will be step one, $28,090.94 per month of the deputy chancellor's salary schedule, and she will be entitled to the same health and welfare benefits as are received by other unrepresented administrators, including retiree health benefits. Dr. Burke will receive the $500 per month car allowance. May I have a motion and a second on item Y1?
I move to approve.
Second.
Moved by Hoffman, second by Eno. Roll call, please.
Student trustee Cordova's advisory vote?
Yes.
Trustee Boulna?
Yes.
Trustee Henderson?
Yes.
Trustee Hoffman?
Yes.
Trustee Eno?
Yes.
Trustee Vella? Trustee Vettis?
Yes.
Now, next is the employment action to amend the approval of extension of employment contracts for college presidents Barry Gribbins, James Limbaugh, and Albert J. Roman through June 30, 2027. A $500 per month car allowance will be applied to the base salary, and they will be entitled to the same health and welfare benefits as are received by other unrepresented classified administrators, including retiree health benefits. May I have a motion and a second on item Y?
So moved.
Moved by Vella,
Second.
second by Eno. Roll call, please.
I have a question.
I'm sorry. Discussion?
Yes. Where's Miss Williams? Miss Williams, did we figure out what the issue was? Was it interpretation? Was it an error? Was it issue?
So there seems to be a missing year at some point. We haven't been able to go back far enough to figure out when. We moved from having 3-year contracts and then another 3-year contract to a base 3-year contract and then year renewals. And we missed a year renewal somewhere in there. But I can't figure out when.
So can presidents have, is it a 3-year contract or a 4-year contract?
They can have 4-year contracts.
So is there a reason why we're doing 3-year? I'm not advocating for either way. I'm just asking why 3 versus 4.
I do not know. I'll have to research when that came, but as an administrator, I've gotten 3-year contracts at other districts as well. I've never really seen 4-year ones, so it's kind of what's been happening in the industry.
So a 3-year contract is our decision. We could legally do 4 if we wanted to.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Colleagues, any other questions regarding this item? All righty then. Could we have roll call, please?
Student trustee Cordova's advisory vote? Yes. Trustee Boulna?
Yes.
Trustee Henderson?
Yes.
Trustee Hoffman? Not present. Trustee Eno?
Yes.
Trustee Vella?
Yes.
Trustee Vettis?
Thank you so much. Right, 3, we're just adding the name, right? Okay. Okay, so item Y3, next is the employment action to approve the extension of the employment contract for the Chancellor's Equity and Justice Fellow through June 30, 2025, with a salary of $20,494 and 5 cents, which includes a 10.22% wage increase approved for all unrepresented managers and administrators on November 8th, 2023. A $500 per month car allowance will be applied to the base salary, and they will be entitled to the same health and welfare benefits as received by other unrepresented academic administrators, including retiree health benefits if eligible. May I have a motion and a second on item Y3?
So moved.
Moved by Vella,
Second.
second by Cordova.
Can we have a quick discussion?
Sure.
I just want to thank, how the Chancellor's vision to bring someone like this, at first, I think it was under my presidency. But I have to tell you that I don't think that people understand how important it was to have a liaison out in the community. I could tell you personally, I have seen her go out and really create an impact in the LGBT African American community, so much so that it gets back to me from personal friendships, that Ms. Smith is out there and advocating and ensuring that we are all inclusive. And, that's the tip of the iceberg. I mean, there's also like all sorts of other projects I'm sure she's working on. And I really want to say that it had made a difference. Let me just put it this way. What I hadn't seen an LACCD do in a while, even before we appointed this position, I can honestly say that, this is greatly appreciated. So thanks to the Board of Trustees, because it has been an honor and a pleasure to work with this person. And I know we can't name them because of the, oh, we can? Okay, so why don't you, Ms. Smith, can you say, okay, there.
Ms. Smith, please come forward.
Yeah, I was like, I apologize. I didn't know we could name you, but thank you so much for all the hard work you've done. And I've seen it personally. I know putting together that, unique ball is not easy. You're on everything. I know Ms. Alba Lopez appreciates you as well. So thank you so much.
Anyone else? So I can't say enough about, stand up, please, Dr. Smith. I can't say enough about this woman and her work. I mean, wow, she came on board and just hit the ground running. I have heard nothing but stellar feedback regarding her interactions with people, her professionalism, her passion. Honestly, I can't say enough. I'm so grateful for you and for the work that you do, because I with the unique ball and other things that you and I work on together, and you've made it happen. And to say I appreciate you is a true understatement. But we have positions created, or people step into positions, and oftentimes people don't have any idea of what that person does in that role, or what the expectations are of the role of itself. But you have truly just inserted yourself in ways to make programs and people more productive and efficient. And you know, it says a lot about you as a person and your work ethic. So thank you for
Thank you.
everything that you do.
Thank you.
So, colleagues, any other comments for Dr. Smith? All right, roll call, please.
Student trustee Cordova's advisory vote,
Yes.
trustee Boulna,
Yes.
trustee Henderson,
Yes.
trustee Hoffman, trustee Eno,
Yes.
trustee Vella,
Yes.
trustee Vettis.
Yes.
Thank you, colleagues. Now, for item Z, recommendations from the Chancellor.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Board President. I'm really, really pleased. And Dr. Roman, let me invite you, join me up here. This is a wonderful recommendation and we're moving forward per our board policy. It is required that the Board of Trustees approve a name change to our buildings throughout the district. And I want to commend Dr. Roman and his team for carrying out a very efficient, thorough, and ultimately a complete process that has now led to this result of shifting the name change from the East Los Angeles College Southgate Educational Center to the East Los Angeles College Southeast Campus. So this will coincide, the name change with the new location that is essentially across the street at the Firestone location, a highly anticipated anticipation of transition. And the team has done excellent work with our facilities division, with our PMO to ensure a smooth transition. One of the items that you approved earlier was to approve some rental space at a couple local high schools, so that when we move out of the Southgate Center, as it currently stands, that we'll be in a temporary location, and then we'll be very able and capable of opening up the new Southeast campus very, very shortly. We're looking at fall of 2025. So this is a wonderful occasion, Dr. Roman. It marks the turn of a page in some ways. When we get in that facility, that'll be the real shift and the real benefit to what the community there at the Southeast Los Angeles area has been waiting for over 20 years. I want to commend you for your leadership and ensuring that this process went through smoothly. And any other comments you'd like to add, sir?
Thank you so much. Chancellor, trustees, again, this is an exciting time for us. 30 years in the making, 1994, Huntington Park, the opening. Some of you will probably remember this, some of you were there. 30 years later, we are on the verge of opening a brand new campus for the Southeast LA community. It is just an honor for me to stand before an entire community, a community that has been eager and looking forward to opening their own campus. We were very intentional in not calling it a center. This is going to be a full blown campus with all wraparound services, all of the programs, instructional programs that you can receive at the Monterey Park campus. And we're truly excited and want to thank all of you trustees who have been behind us, supporting us. Of course, our entire ELAC team that's been working diligently to get to this moment. We had, just by way of quick background, a full, thorough, you know, I would just call it a roadshow that we did over the last 4 months, going to talk to all of the SELA community leaders, city council members, and many of the folks who have are vested in this community. And the name Southeast LA resonated with them. They are indeed, SELA is a community and it's an identity, and folks are really excited about the opening of the campus. We have support from the Academic Senate. We have support from our faculty, staff, and administrators. And more importantly, we have support from our community. So again, thank you so much for your support. Looking forward to spring of 2025, now opening the brand new campus and servicing our community the way it deserves to be served. So again, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Colleagues, anything you'd like to?
I'd like to make a note. I think my mom was a recipient in 1993-4 in Huntington Park when this campus first started. So we have really fond memories of it. And I know back then there was some debate of whether it was a Huntington Park campus or a Southeast LA campus, but it's certainly come a long way. And I think it's every step of the way during your time as president there has marked transitioning away from, back then it was an annex, and has moved to a center, to move to a campus that we can all be proud of and be excited by. So I think it's very exciting for the community.
to see it stand there. And I think when the facility is fully opened, it'll mark a really incredible presence. But as we get to that, it's also important to remember, I think it was, and she's a colleague of ours over at USC now, Martha Scutia was on the assembly. One of the Calderons was in the Senate. I forgot which one, but there's some fond memories of just the advocacy that took place. And so as we capture our final space, it would be great to be able to pull that long history of advocacy. So many of our campuses, like Mission College, like several ones came because of Southwest, came because people fought for them. And this is the same. And so I think it's great to acknowledge that sometimes we've grown because of advocates and advocacy. We should be proud of that history too. So thank you for the work here. It's been a long time coming, and I know that community is very excited to see it fully opened. And naming it this way, I think, gives it the kind of credibility it needs and deserves. Thank you.
Vice President Henderson, he's not the only Southeast Huntington Park person. I graduated from Bell Gardens. I graduated from Bell Gardens High School. I'm a real Southeast. No, I just want to thank you, Chancellor, and President Roman, but I was last year really, really tough on President Roman on the outreach, as you know, making sure that those council members, granted, there's small cities, but there's a lot of them. Like that saying, somos muchos, pero somos whatever. But yeah, no, I just want to thank you for the outreach, because it got back to me that ELAC was out there outreaching not only on this issue, but on the transition. So good job. Thank you.
Thank you, colleagues. Any other comments? All right. So may I have a motion and a second on item Z1?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Eno, second by Buelna. Roll call, please.
Student trustee Cordova's advisory vote.
Yes.
Trustee Buelna,
Yes.
trustee Henderson,
Yes.
trustee Hoffman,
Yes.
trustee Eno,
Yes.
trustee Vella, trustee Vettis.
Yes.
Thank you, colleagues. Board members, this is one notice. No action is required for item AA. Item B, would any of my colleagues like to make any announcements or indicate future proposed actions?
I do have one. Go ahead, Trustee.
Just a quick announcement. I realized that on the weekends, or not just the weekends, but throughout the week or throughout our school's calendar, we hold events, some of which that are not held by our campus or like organizations that we work with. And so on the weekend, there was an event that caught my attention to an issue. When we hold public events, can we make sure that the parking that students are paying is reserved for the students and not to the public for those events? Because it's a bit redundant to make students pay for that parking just to give it away whenever we're holding events. So that's all. Nothing negative though. I love the event that was happening. Thank you.
No, I don't think we somewhere events. So very point made and taken. Note to self. Colleagues, anybody else?
Just if we could just come back with or through ISS or here, just kind of a rundown of all of the basic needs centers, the point of contact, the housing, call it whatever you want to call it, liaison, just kind of a breakdown at each college. Because I know there's a lot of stuff going on there. That's it.
You need a report or just?
Or a report, however you want to do it.
Okay.
Yeah, I know you're busy this year.
Right, thank you.
I just haven't seen one kind of all in one, but
Right.
yeah.
It would be helpful for us to know.
Yeah,
Colleagues,
and
anything else? Okay. So now on to item CC. The First Amendment and the Brown Act guarantee a member of the public the right to criticize a public employee or public official in the performance of their duties. However, speakers are encouraged to focus their comments on issues relevant to the conduct of the public's business rather than on private or unrelated matters. Speakers are reminded that the Brown Act and First Amendment do not protect defamatory statements made, which may subject the speaker to personal liability. We do have 20 speakers for this item. Board policy allows us a total of 20 minutes for each item. So colleagues, could I get a motion and a second to reduce the time frame for speakers
So moved.
from 3 minutes to 1 minute to accommodate all of the speakers?
So moved.
Okay, moved by Eno, second by Henderson. Roll call, please.
Student trustee Cordova's advisory vote,
Yes.
trustee Boulna,
I'm gonna abstain.
trustee Henderson,
Yes.
trustee Hoffman, trustee Eno,
Yes.
trustee Vella,
Yes.
trustee Vettis.
Thank you, colleagues. So now, first off, we have Mr. Manning Rangel. So Mr. Rangel, you have 1 minute.
All right. Good afternoon, board members, student trustee Cordova, Chancellor Rodriguez, cabinet members, students, and community. My name is Manny Rangel. I'm the chief negotiator for SEIU Local 99. Today is International Workers' Day, and in that spirit, I'm here today to advocate for a living wage for the essential workers of SEIU Local 99. As most of you remember, SEIU Local 99 workers are the ones that stepped up for everyone at LACCD during the COVID pandemic. SEIU Local 99 members put their lives and their families' lives on the line during the COVID pandemic. Today, essential workers are calling for you to step up for them and provide them with a living wage to support their families. There are times when doing the right thing is not easy, but we are counting on you to do the right thing. Let's not just talk about equity, let's be about equity. When inflation and the cost of living goes up, it's the lowest paid workers that suffer the most. We have workers that are houseless and almost all of them struggle financially. Classified Employees Week takes place this month, which is a kind gesture. Kind gestures are appreciated, but kind gestures do not help workers provide for their families. It's time to step up for essential workers, just like they stepped up for everyone at LACCD. We look forward to LACCD's counter proposal at our next negotiations meeting this Friday. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next up, we have James Bradley and then Alberto Bautista. Not here?
Not here.
James, is it Bradley or Bradley?
Bradley.
Bradley? Okay, is Alberto Bautista? Emiliano Pen, I don't want to jack it out. Michael
Emiliano,
Price? Paniagua? No? Michael Price? Joseph Ayala?
All right, since I'm a negotiator, since those people are not here, can I negotiate to borrow their time? Is that a possibility? Just let me start. Good afternoon, distinguished members of the board. My name is Joseph Ayala, and I have been with LACCD for over 1 year as a gardener at Harbor College. And I want to give a big shout out to all our lead gardeners, our groundskeepers district-wide. You're doing an amazing job on our campuses. And I want to take this opportunity to seize this moment to give credit where credit is due. As I stand before you, I want to recognize Harbor College President, Dr. Luis Dorado. Back in December of last year, 2023, Mr. Dorado made a commitment to his student athletes. He vowed to provide the best possible playing fields at Harbor College, referring to our baseball and softball fields and soccer fields. Dr. Dorado, instead of going out and trying to outsource our jobs to outside agencies, knowing full well the daunting tasks, he recognized the talent he had in his grounds department. Mind you, Harbor College has 3 gardeners and 1 lead, Brian, Carlos, Renee, and myself. One of the best teams in the district, the amount of square footage we take care of district-wide. Back to our story. Dr. Dorado, along with our director, Leslie Trujillo, made a commitment to renovate our fields, especially our baseball and softball fields. As they proceeded to task our grounds department to renovate those fields, our grounds department stopped at nothing on on a shoestring budget to renovate our fields, our grounds teams managed to turn those baseball fields around and softball in less than a month. Thanks to our director, Alex Nelson, who found the money to bring our fields to NCAA standards, not to mention saving the district thousands of dollars. But more important, the vision and the commitment Dr. Corrado made to our students and to our staff changed the culture of our student athletes. Which brings me to the moral of this story. Just like Dr. Dorado entrusted his ground staff to turn things around on those fields, I'm asking the Board of Trustees entrust and embrace the talent that you have. Stop at nothing to retain the talent that you have in our custodial staff, maintenance staff, event staff, our pool technicians, our ground staff, our carriers, and all our classified staff 99 represents. And trust us enough to reward us with living wages. And trust us enough to increase our longevity pay. And trust us enough to fully staff our colleges. And trust us enough to make a commitment to us. We can't do this alone. We need each and every one of our board members on this panel to make the commitment to your essential workers. And we want to thank you for your patience and your time. Thank you.
The next up, we have Michael Price, Joseph Ayala, Carlos Diaz,
Hello, everyone. My name is Carlos Diaz. I work down also at Harvard College, and I think most of you guys know me. I've been around for about 17 years. So I've been around for a while. Like I said, I know most of you guys. And I kind of want to reiterate a little bit of what my comment here said. Harvard College is very unique. We have a lot of we have very few employees. We need a lot more. We work as hard as we can, and we try and put things together as best we can. We really have a good relationship with our administrators, with Dr. Dorado, Amali. I mean, everybody up and down the chain. They really, really help us out as best they can. But a lot of times they're short. It's like, we're having trouble with the money. We're having trouble. We're trying to get you guys going. But they're there for us, and we feel that, and we want to be there for them. And in the other parts of the district, it's the same thing. I hear it a lot. It's like we're working 2-3 jobs to try and stay afloat because we can't survive on what we're getting. And we're working, and they're asking us to work more and more and more and to do as much as we can. And yet still, we're not making enough to get through. So what I'm asking is, everybody knows about inflation. It's in the news. We see it every day when you go grocery shopping. When you're, at least for us, when we're trying to pay gas and we realize we only have about maybe 10, 20 bucks left to try and stretch that throughout the week, it hurts and we feel it. It's like, how am I going to make it to work? I don't have enough money for gas. I just barely bought the grocery bills and now I'm broke. That's how serious it's getting. That's just an example. Or sometimes it's just the way around. It's like, wow, I don't have enough. I guess we're going to be eating cereal for the next week because there's not much else I can get. I had to put money in the gas tank to get to work. Those are the realities that we're kind of dealing with. But, we still suit up and show up at work. We put a smile on our face and we work with what we got. So now the only thing that we have now is to ask you guys is like, hey, give us that support. Pretty soon they're going to up the wages again statewide, and we're going to be even shorter. It's not going to be worth coming to work anymore because it's like, you know what? I'll go somewhere else. Will they pay me better? That's another reality we're all starting to look at. It's like, if we're going to get paid minimum wage, which is what we're staring at because we feel it already, having trouble paying the mortgage, the gas bill, mortgage, whatever it is you're paying, and I can go to McDonald's and get paid the same thing. What am I doing working here? That's what we're looking at. And a lot of good employees that are working in these colleges are going to say, you know what? It's time to jump ship. This thing's sinking. We don't want to do that. Some of us want to continue, but you know, we're at that point now where a lot of people are asking that. It's like, why are we sticking around? So I want you guys to really please consider what we're asking.
Sir, your time's up.
Okay. All we want is a living wage. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have Lawrence Shepherd.
Forgot to pull my paper out, sorry. Good evening, board members. My name is Lawrence Shepherd and I'm a custodian at City College. I've worked for the district for 17 years. I show up for work each day. I keep the learning environment clean and safe for students and staff. I'm responsible for cleaning, maintaining classrooms, bathrooms, staff lounges, and many other areas throughout the campus. I manage the things that people take for granted, like full soap dispensers, stocking toilet paper rolls, and cleaning floors. We custodians are essential workers, yet we are not equipped with the tools and equipment that help us perform our jobs better. When will our work become a priority? We custodians are essential workers, yet we are struggling with higher prices for gas, food, and the basic needs. This is unacceptable. This is why I urge you to provide higher wages for those of us on the front lines. We have been told we are essential workers, but we deserve more than just words. We deserve fair wages and reflect the work that we do. I know school can be one of a resource of stability for our students' daily life. That's why the work that we do should not be overlooked. It's time for LACCD to recognize the work this May Day and everything we do to keep the campuses clean and staffed. And I would appreciate more wages, more money. Me and my grandson, I just recently took on the responsibility of raising my grandson, and it's not easy. So if we could do that, I would appreciate it, and respect us, protect us, and pay us. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Darian Davis. About Husan Sanders. Ariana Bell. Irena, I'm sorry.
Good morning, Board of Trustees. My name is Irena Bell. I'm a steward over at East Los Angeles College. And I'd like to say we work hard over there. In fact, we work hard at all our places of employment. We clean really hard. We do what we are asked to do. And we get it done, even though we're understaffed. We're understaffed and we're also overworked. But, you know, I had written out a little bit of something and I'm just kind of feeling a little different. I want to go here with you. And I want to talk about you guys. Are you guys parents? You have kids, you know, mother and father. If you don't, have you ever taken care of anybody? Well, you know, mothers and fathers, parents, they go to extremes to take care of their kids. Need diapers, food, you know what I'm saying? They're part of a family. We're part of the ELAC family. And we're just asking you to give us living wages so that we can support ourselves and our families. Because, you know, I'm looking at this right here and I've been at the district 18 years. And yes, I'm in tears, 18 years plus. And I got minimum wage people coming behind me, making just a few dollars less, or I make a few dollars more. So how does that look to have to work for somebody or a company, a family, be involved, and still somebody's coming up behind you making just as much as you do after 18 years? That don't look good for me. So we're asking for living wages to help us get to our work, because I drive 40 miles back and forth to get to this job. And I have to sometimes wonder, like, what am I gonna find on to snack just to get here to do this job? You know what I'm saying? So we need the minimum wage, and I really need you to consider where we are as far as not cost of living, but living wages. I'm nowhere near the cost of living after working for 18 years. Please consider us. Thank you, board.
Thank you. Next up, we have Joe Valenzuela, Irma Lopez, O'Neill Hooker, Elmer Rivera, Cecilia Kamambe.
Good afternoon, Madam President. Good afternoon, Chancellor and Board of Trustees and Student Trustee Cordova. My name is Cecilia Kamandi. I'm a custodian from West Los Angeles College. I have good news and bad news. I'm going to start with the good news. The good news is that students have come back to school. Coming back to school, that means more funding, more money on the budget. When these students come to school, they're happy that the schools are open. They're happy that they have teachers to teach. They have employees like us who clean, open the doors for them, instruct them when they're lost in the school. And first of all, to start with, some of us, like my son, my shift at 4:30 in the morning. So we are the first people who open those door, the gate, the school, the college. So if there's anything that could have gone wrong over the night, it's us who sees that. So we're essential workers. We notify the sheriffs. We're very important people. But the bad news is, I'm not going up the bad news. We the custodians, most of the custodians, including myself, we're working 2 jobs. The struggle is real. Some custodians are homeless. Seriously. I'm not saying this just to say. The district employs about what, 500 to 700 custodians. So when I speak, I'm speaking for those custodians who couldn't even be here. And I'm thankful that I'm here, that I didn't go to work today. And guess what? Somebody has to clean that building when I'm not there. That's why when I make sure I represent them, I talk for them because they're doing my job. So I have to talk on their behalf. So on behalf of the custodians, we're lucky to have a job. And LACCD is a good place to have a career, and I'm happy to be in that environment. But for the meantime, we need help. We just want to enjoy our primaries. Don't have to work 2 jobs. And when you work a job, be able to go home and pay your rent, have a car, insurance, food, and shop at Trader Joe's and get some healthy food, because the struggle is real. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for that. Next, on Zoom, we have Akila Rotten. Oh, you're here? Oh, please come forward.
Good afternoon, board. My name is Akila Roten Jr. My background really doesn't matter because the custodians have let you guys know what's really going on in the first place. I'm also a student of LACCD. I graduate in a few months. Hope to see everybody at Southwest May 23rd. But to be honest, I shared Dr. King's birthday, January 15, and I remember in 1967, he said, a quote, "The labor movement was a principal force that transformed misery and despair into hope and progress." I'm not seeing that a lot here. I know majority of this room makes up over $100,000 a year. How I know? Because I clean your offices. I know how you live. I know what's going on in your life. And the fact that my people have not been represented and treated fairly with an equal wage baffles me. Yes, I can get into my 4 children. Yes, I can get into my second job. Yes, I can get into being a full-time student. But you guys know, you guys have all been here. You guys have all started somewhere. And so we remember Dr. King's words because it seems like as soon as he started to talk about economic advancement, he was assassinated in 1968. I don't want my sisters and brothers, as my father, who's been a product of this district for almost 30 years, he's still struggling. And that's my daddy. Amen, amen. So I just want everybody to understand that this is more than just, this is a civil movement. I know we get behind our desk and I know I see the PhDs and the doctors, but none of that matters when you're hungry. None of that matters when you're homeless. None of that matters when because everybody in here has to go use a restroom. Everybody. So please let us not forget our humanity, and please let these shirts don't scare you. We just human, just like you guys. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you for that. Okay, so we have next up Nathan Lewis online. Okay, Andres Visual. Chris Ozan.
I just want to say that Local 99 has spoken. And I actually want to talk on another topic. I want to respond to the comment that was made earlier by Mr. Bruce Hicks, representing 721. I just want to say that, you know, our members have been complaining about their work environment and the bullying that our members have experienced over the years. He mentioned conflict resolution and going through the grievance process. Well, we've been there, done that. I don't bring issues, you know, to this board that hasn't already been addressed at the campus level. I bring issues to the board that has not been addressed at the campus level. Therefore, I disagree that when he said that Local 99 is sending emails to the board that's hostile, that's not the case. I'm not a hostile person, if anybody knows me. And so, you know, when I send these emails, all I'm saying is that, you know, we just want the bullying to stop. And I hope that, you know, we can work together with 721 to address these issues. Thank you.
Thank you all. So was anybody else on the list to speak? Okay, thank you. Okay, next up we have Mr. Rolando Cuevas.
He's being transported right now. No, he's coming.
Okay, can you hear me? I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, Madam Chair, seriously, hold my clock. That was not fair because like what happened right now, there's a technical problem with your system getting online and probably those other speakers were having a hard time getting on. So that's not nice, okay? So you should give me 2 minutes because my first time you cut me off, huh?
You have 3 minutes to.
Okay, hold on. Can you hear me? Because you're breaking up.
I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, can you get the breaking up? Because the audio, I've been complaining, it's been breaking up. Okay, so listen. First of all, Local 99, go on strike. That chancellor needs to be fired. That is a damn disgrace to hear those people suffering like that. He goes up there and brags about how great the goddamn district is, and those people are hungry. That is bullshit. You guys are supposed to be progressive Democrats. You guys are Republicans killing the damn poor. Call the County Federation of Labor, go on strike, call Mylena Durazo, Steve Harris's boss, and put her in the hot pan because she wants the endorsement for county supervisor and get that damn raise. I'm sick of hearing this bullshit and all those people making over that money and that chancellor making $1.6 million, costing the district over $17 million in lawsuits that could go to these people. Get serious. That got me sick to my damn stomach. I can't believe we're hearing that in the 24th to 2024. Unbelievable. That's like slavery, man. You had to be ashamed of yourself. Give them a raise today. Give them a raise today. Fire that chancellor, 1.6 million, and feed those damn janitors and give them what they need. And don't look at me, Steve.
Mr. Cuevas, you're breaking up a little bit.
You, Local 99, do not end up my drift. Bye. Local 99, that's some bullshit.
You're breaking up.
Mr. Cuevas, you were breaking up. Are you done?
Okay. Nice. He's out. He got disconnected.
Okay, I guess he'll let you know. Okay, so right now we have three people that want to speak for.
Yes,
closed
we do.
session? Okay, so we have three folks that would like to speak on closed session agenda items. The first is Keith Standifer.
He's here.
So Mr. Standifer, you have 3 minutes.
Good afternoon, Madam President, board members. Madam President, I'm here today to discuss my disciplinary action against me. First of all, I worked at Harbor College in the HVAC department for more than 8 years as the only HVAC technician on that campus. And for this disciplinary action, I never complained about my job. I love my job. I love working for the district. No complaints. I've had some problems, but never ever an issue with my work and how I did my work. And for this action against me was pretty much made up after I was put on leave. I also, in those 8 years, plus when I'm working there, When the plumber retired, for about 5 months, I was also the plumber at the campus. So for them to say that I was derelict of duty, not doing my job properly, is totally wrong. I'm a father, raising a child by myself, and I'm here to keep my job if possible. And that's about it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Carlos Magruder. And Chris Ozan, did she walk out? Yeah, but she's on here twice.
Chris,
Chris,
you're on
did-
for
For
G3,
closed session
for
items?
Closed session item?
You already did.
Just did.
Good afternoon again. So speaking on behalf of Mr. Carlos Magruder, we strongly disagree with the district recommendation to dismiss our Local 99 member, as we believe it is unjust and overly harsh considering the entire situation that took place on October 12th, 2022 at Trade Tech. We urge this board to vote against terminating Mr. Magruder employment within the district for the following reasons. Since Mr. Magruder started working for the district, he never faced any disciplinary action. During the Scully hearing, Mr. Magruder clearly expressed his sincere apology for his conduct. He takes full responsibility for his conduct. He reacted to a situation where he was being provoked by the person who made the complaint against him. We believe there were more relevant information in the investigation report that was not taken into consideration. For example, we want to point out that when the person filed the complaint against Mr. Magruder, the person did not participate in the investigation process when the district reached out to the person several times. And the investigation report shows that the person was aware that the district was reaching out to them. And if it was really important, then they would have reached out to the district on this matter. And we also want to point out that this was a confrontation between two individuals. Mr. Magruder was merely trying to protect the vendors who were on campus from being harassed by the individual. The matters, got out of hand. Mr. Magruder was not attempting to coerce the person or engage in sexual harassment. And so we believe the definition for sexual harassment is being used out of context for his situation. It is unjust to label Mr. Magruder actions as sexual harassment and terminate his employment, especially given the district lenient treatment of VP Irvin, who was accused of sexually harassing and stalking Sabrina Odom for over a year without consequences until she had to sue the district for failing to address the misconduct of the administrator. To dismiss Mr. Magruder based on these grounds would result in disparate treatment towards Local 99 members while favoring the district administrator. We're asking that you don't terminate his employment, and we ask that that his employment is not terminated with the district. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ozan. Madam Board Secretary, was Mr. Magruder scheduled to be in person or?
Yes, he was.
virtual?
He was online for a long time. He sent me a written comment because he had to leave. So he was waiting. And he
Okay.
just couldn't get through. So I'm going to send it to everybody right now, including the Chancellor and Dr. Burke. So
Okay,
we can take that into consideration as his public comment.
thank you for
Thank
that. Okay, so for those of you that did not hear, Mr. Magruder is submitting a comment that'll be
Written comment,
added
yeah.
to the record. He was online and couldn't stay on.
Madam Chair, can I ask a question? So Ms. Ozanne, you were only speaking about Mr. Magruder? Is that the only person in closed session that you're speaking?
Yes.
Not the other public?
Okay, now, the board will recess to closed session in accordance with the Ralph M. Brown Act, Government Code Sections 54950 and the Education Code to discuss the matters on the posted closed agenda pursuant to Government Code Section 54954.5. May I have a motion and a second to recess to closed session?
So motion. Oh, second.
Moved by Gino, second by Cordova. Roll call, please.
Student. Trustee Cordova,
Yes.
trustee Boulna,
Yes.
trustee Henderson,
Yes.
trustee Hoffman, trustee Eno,
Yes.
trustee Villa, trustee Vettis.
Abstain.
What?
Okay.
Wanna go?
Thank you. Meeting is recessed to closed session.